Investigation is going on. I've always said it, together we can overcome insecurity in Lagos.
The operation was carried out by the Command Tactical Team attached to Surulere, IV, Kano. TVC News, Lagos.
All right, we have our senior correspondent, Sarah Ayeku, standing by at the Freedom Park, Ojota, to bring us up to speed with developments there. Sarah, talk to us what the situation of things is like in the Freedom Park.
So what we've seen so far is that the protesters started gathering at about 8:40 a.m. and gradually the crowds started coming from all over Lagos just to gather at the Gani Fawemi Park in Ojota. And so what you see right now is the gathering. You see the crowd, the gathering, it's growing gradually, and what we've seen is that they keep reiterating their demands. We've seen some 9-point to 12-point demands as to the reversal or the removal of the fuel subsidy, and the demands cut across political issues, cut across economic issues, education, and economic issues. And so what we've seen so far is that the protesters have been here since 8:40 a.m. pressing home their demands, just to ensure that the government hears their demand. Earlier on, we saw the police, that's the security operatives, and the protesters, the demonstrators, are in some sort of argument, a mild argument, arguing about whether they should be on the streets or be confined within the Gani Fawemi Park. And about in 10 minutes or thereabouts, that were resolved. The security operatives had allowed them stay at this side of the road, and so what we've seen is that they had set up their DJ inside the Gani Fawemi Park. Then they had asked journalists to stay on the other side, that's on the median, just to ensure that there is free flow of traffic along this area. But right now, earlier on, about 10 minutes ago, some persons or some anti-protest supporters had come into the Gani Fawemi Park to stop the DJ from setting up his audio console, and that of course angered the protesters. And so what you see right now is they're now on the road, though trying to control themselves and ensure that they do not block free flow of traffic. But something very interesting, that they have talked about is the fact that today marks 27 years since Fela Anikulapo Kuti died, and that's something that resonates with these protesters. And they have said that some of the issues that the Afrobeat singer had highlighted in most of his songs way back in the 1990s as some of the things we're still seeing in year 2024. And so these are some of the issues they had raised here at the protest ground. Veronica.
Right. Sarah, we'll definitely keep tabs with you for developments coming out of there. But one interesting thing that you've pointed out is how the protesters were able to cooperate with the security personnel to ensure that there was no breakdown of law and order in the process of trying to press home their demands and give reasons why they're standing on the road as against being inside the park. All right, we'll definitely get back to you for more updates, Sarah. All right, let's come to the studio now where we have our guests still here with us. Patrick Agbambo, security consultant, Shijibomi Adebiyi Bennett, social affairs commentator. Gentlemen, we must thank you for holding the fort and ensuring that you're here for us. But stemming from what our correspondent has said, talking about how the security personnel was able to speak with the protesters who were saying that they do not want to stay in the park, but rather they want to come outside. Perhaps they feel free there as against inside the park where they feel that they'll be caged, so to speak. But let's perhaps look at how the security personnel stemming from yesterday have been able to still manage this whole matter.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's quite commendable that the protesters are in orderly manners. They have exhibited the height of decency by making sure that they follow the due process. Just like the reporter said, they were, when the DJ that was brought in was setting up, some people came and were disturbing him, and so the protesters decided to stay outside. I believe that the security agencies will ensure that nobody, no matter who you are, disturbs these protesters from doing what is lawful and from being where they're supposed to be. Being on that road, it has a lot of hazards. They must not block the road. That is one. Two.
Yeah. She mentioned that they are trying to manage it.
They are trying to manage it. If there must be flow of traffic, and anybody could, in a situation like that, could get himself injured. So they must go inside where there's a bit of some freedom, not to run away from vehicles and all that. So I think that the Lagos State Police would ensure that these people get in there, or wherever they will be, make sure that they don't obstruct the traffic and they don't inconvenience themselves. I know they want to express themselves, they want to, but it must be according to the laws and the law of the land and not against any other person. So whoever is trying to, whether those anti-protests, whatever, must be called to order. They must not disturb any of the people who are protesting. It's not allowed.
Absolutely. And from the incidents of yesterday, we have seen some state governments impose curfew because as chief security officers, the protection of life and property is paramount, and that is why they are saying they have taken these steps. And that is also what we are seeing in terms of Lagos State, for instance, where they are saying that, of course, you have a right to protest, but when it comes to the security of your life, we must ensure that, and that is why the police are there, and then we must ensure that you're cooperating with us to ensure everything goes smoothly as it is. But let's come back to the matter of the imposition of curfew, how necessary you think it was to addressing the issues that's happened yesterday.
Yes, the curfew was very, very necessary because the three states I learned about later yesterday before, I think Jigawa has joined now, were Kano,
Borno, Yobe, Katsina governments.
Yeah. So for Borno, there was a place that had the issue of Boko Haram before this time, ISWAP, and we had a situation whereby a bomb went off and people were killed. So if you have a situation whereby people gather in large numbers, the insurgents go infiltrate and do some harm. Yeah. So the curfew was a welcome development. For Yobe, I think it was because I think a government institution or office was, attacked and vandalized, and to restore calm, that was done. For Kano, it was self-inflicted. I still emphasize and I believe that because the governor did not give direction about how the protests
What kind of direction should he have given, really? Because you have said this, that it was self-inflicted, and I'm wondering, why would a governor want to inflict that on his state?
Because I think it was naive. It's a governor that had been making mistakes before now. So in terms of vandalizing properties of perceived because of the former
governor would want that.
Yeah, but if you look at it, this is a fact. Because the people took him to court and he was ordered to pay some money, and he negotiated 3 billion naira with those people's properties, with the people that the properties were what's it called, destroyed. And because he has been having a running battle with the ex-governor, that's the former governor, who is now the chairman of APC as a party. I think that has been affecting from the subconscious his decision-making. Because if you look at states where we've had peaceful protests, look at Lagos, for example. And we said before we left the last time that if the security personnel could build on yesterday's success, you can see that it's looking like that. And you can see more cars going through the protesters, unlike yesterday. So if you look at Oyo State, I think they visited the governor and their demands were made to the governor and there was peace. Ekiti, nobody even went out on those same thing. So if you look at the ways the government, even Abuja, that could have been because of the approach of the FCT minister, that could have gone out of hand. We've not had any report contrary. It's like everybody is gaining sense now on both parties. on both sides. So when the governors will do what they need to do. I don't know if you saw your TV station played it when Peter Obi was interviewed, and he said something about the right of protesters to protest, and but they should not be violent. He emphasized on that. The reaction of the state governor changed. That's Oti. Oti said he doesn't think there was need for any protest because those grievances they know and they're working on it. Because he's the man in charge. He's taking responsibility. If anything happens in that state, nobody will mention the name of Peter Obi. It's Oti's name that will be mentioned. Right. So when you are in the saddle, when you are vested with the responsibility to provide security for the properties and lives of people, you know what it is. So, and there was guide. Because look at the Southeast now. Based on the way the leadership has, guided their people, we don't have any issues. Not that they are not hungry as well, but they have tried to, channel it through the right quarters. So I expect Kano. Look at Rivers State. So when you pick three states in Nigeria, you have to be very careful. Lagos, Rivers, and Kano. So Rivers is also having a very good protest.
Outing, yeah.
Yes, a very good outing. But Kano is not having that. So what went wrong? So that's the failure of leadership. So it had to degenerate into a curfew. So, but I believe that by the time the 24-hour curfew is over, which will be tomorrow, or
later today,
later today, then everybody will have
it will be reviewed.
Yes.
And okay, let's quickly hold our thought and quickly speak with our senior reporter, Ayomide Ajegbe, who is at the airport MM2 precisely to bring us up to speed with developments there. Ayomide, what's the situation like? Are people going about their businesses, traveling or returning into the country? What really is happening?
Thank you very much, Veronica. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. The mood here is very, very chill. Normal business activities ongoing at the airport, even though there are very, very few passengers traveling today. I spoke to some of the airline authorities and representatives here. They said this year, today might be one of the, yesterday and today is one of the days that they had the lowest patronage, of course, aside the day there was an NLC strike. You check around here, you see that a lot of the counters are empty. Some of the airlines authority didn't even turn up. They said they already checked their logs and discovered that passengers are not coming. Some people are traveling today. I spoke to a lady earlier who told me that she's leaving Lagos to Abuja, and she's not planning to return till a week's time because her office has given her a half day and off. They've given them 1 week off work, and that sounds somehow. I asked her what's her thoughts about the ongoing protests. She just says she's indifferent about the whole situation. But outside the airport, the MM1 and the MM2, there's heavy security presence in and around the airport. There is a lot of monitoring around to be sure that there is no breakdown of law and order. There are no protesters in and around the airport. But normal business activity is ongoing, even though skeletal.
We can see that from behind you that it is quite scanty there. The number of persons who are at the airport is quite scanty. Did you ask perhaps the airport operators how it is that they were confident enough to run their businesses despite the fact that there was a protest put in place?
Yeah, my company, Aviation Services, who are in charge of the MMA2, says they already had their plans figured out. I standing order that in case there is any disruption, they are to shut down activities. Even the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, they said that they are not anticipating any sort of glitch or hitch intelligence they gathered earlier that there is nothing that will disrupt their services. But then they are on red alert, and that's why, of course, the heavy security presence that I mentioned earlier in and around the airports, quite unusual to have them around here, but everything is calm.
All right. Ayomide Ajegbe, thank you for bringing us up to speed. We'll definitely keep tabs with you for more developments from the airport. All right, let me come to you now, Patrick. He's talked about the impact on businesses, a scanty number of persons at the airport looking to travel. And then there are those who are afraid and decided, you know what, let me just quickly move out of Lagos because they don't know what could happen.
Yes, the lady's story is quite, yeah, I'm laughing because he's running to Abuja. Abuja is a bit experiencing some heat, and Lagos is calm. Because before yesterday, the calculation or the prediction was that Lagos will be boiling and other places will be maybe calm, but it's reversed, like I said, because of the strategy and what the Lagos State Police and the government of Lagos State did. I think that the businesses that have been affected, they were already planned that, this is the situation. So let us scale down on our operations. Let us not, if that some airlines even operated, it's a matter, is because they properly calculated that some people will still travel and they still have the confidence that the security forces will do their job.
Right.
And indeed they did. And again, there was nothing like picketing or spontaneous protesting from every angle. So, and the injunction, the court injunction gotten by Lagos State was one of the reasons that helped the situation, because it now makes sure that you can't protest anywhere. No matter where you're converging, you must follow what the law says. And that is my support. That is what I stand for. If you disagree, please go and appeal. And that is the situation. And you have 7 days to appeal, and you must do that. And so let us see what the court will say. But the businesses, at the end of the day, if we allow this protest to continue, it's Nigerians that will suffer the more. That is one thing we must know. You're agitating that there is hunger. Now it's going to create more hunger, because there are many Nigerians. We talk about the microeconomy and all that. There are many Nigerians who depend on daily earnings for their survival.
Right.
So when you stop them from earning their living, taking their either from the market or from anywhere, then the family will go hungry. So who are you fighting for? Whatever you have in mind, which is the demand, as grievances, has been presented. It has to be presented in the proper gathering and protesting and getting the media to cover it. It's not the ideal. Who are you channeling your grievance, your demands
Well, they
to?
believe that the president, the government is watching, and so they will listen even much more.
No, you see, for me, I know, like he was talking about, what was the pattern of protest those days? You take off and you go to either the government office or you go to the assemblies and you make your demands known.
You present a letter.
You present a letter. It's based on this letter that actions will be taken. If they did not, you can now address press conference. This is it. And their response will guide you. But when you come and you make none of them will come and address your protest at wherever you are protesting, on the street or whatever. So I think that we must do the right thing. Whoever is the leadership, we all Nigerians are feeling the pinch everywhere. Nobody will deny the fact. Even the president has accepted that, and he has provided some palliative to state governors. We must tell the governors to do the right thing.
All right, we'll speak to the governors when we return from this break. Stay with us.
I am always excited about new things. Homes, cars, clothes, you name it. They come with some freshness. I just got my newly repackaged Swiss Flower Air Freshener Spray.
Everything you need to bring freshness into your environment is contained in the new repackaged Swiss Flower Air Freshener Spray. Available in stores near you.
Flower Air Freshener. I'm in love. Hey, mommy.
What?
Sonia tomato mix, stand up, ouch. Sonia tomato mix, stand up, ouch. Easy to open, easy to squeeze, easy to scoop and easy to stop. Dishes come alive with so much taste. Stand up, ouch. Sonia tomato mix, of course. Sonia tomato mix, yes sir. Sonia tomato mix, stand up, ouch.
I'm in love. Oh, with you, of course, my son.
Sonia tomato mix in a new stand-up pouch.
Lunch.
Heartburn and indigestion? Try Jesty. Reliable remedy for heartburn, indigestion, flatulence, and acidity.
The Inspector General of Police has met with senior officers to review the state of security.
We are continuing our coverage of the arrest of Godwin Emefiele.
The Senate has summoned the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to properly brief the Senate regarding the state of the economy.
President Bola Tinubu has announced the total removal of fuel subsidy.
The fresh subsidy is gone.
What I will never take is threat.
Let's now bring you more development from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where an explosion has taken place. Tell us about this incident.
TVC News. First with breaking news.
TVC News Weekend Lineup. TVC Breakfast Saturday with Kemi Fola Adeyemo and Emmanuel Ajayi. Political Standpoint with Precious Amayo. Newsweek with Mark Otabo. Politics and Sunday with Femi Akonde. Community Forum with Sarah Yeku. Get ready for the biggest stories, fresh perspectives and burning news discussions that round up the weekend. Only on TVC News.
Thank you for staying with us. It's still a live coverage of the ongoing protests happening across the country. But let's quickly bring you up to speed with some details from some of the states. We move to Jigawa State, where the state government has imposed a 24-hour curfew effective Thursday the 1st, that's yesterday. Governor Umar Namadi announced the curfew in a statewide broadcast following the violent turn of the End Bad Government protest, which resulted in looting of public and private properties. However, the curfew will be relaxed today, Friday, from 12 to 2:30 p.m. to allow Muslims to observe Friday prayers. During this period, movement to mosques will be permitted, but the use of vehicles is strictly prohibited.
My fellow Jigawa citizens, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Today we woke off with a series of protests that is not part of our culture and that is not part of our tradition. And we feel that this protest will not be a solution to what people are demanding or asking for. We are all Muslims and we believe that there is nobody in this world that can put hardship on you, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's only Allah that can rescue you from that hardship. Therefore, protest is not a solution and it will not be a solution. We realize that how people use young, small boys to achieve their objective of vandalizing and stealing people's property. This is not part of our culture and this is not part of our tradition. Therefore, we feel as a government we should not allow this thing to continue. unabated. As a result of that, we are introducing a 24-hour curfew in Jigawa State, and this curfew will continue up to the time we have reviewed the situation again with the security agencies and we feel it's time to relax it.
Now, the governor of Kebbi State, Nasir Idris, has appealed to organizers of the protest in the state to abort it. Governor Nasir made the appeal late Thursday evening during a state broadcast on the state of the nation. According to the governor, available credible information has revealed devilish plans by some unpatriotic and unscrupulous elements to import some mercenaries from outside the state to cause mayhem in Kebbi State.
As the responsible government will not allow people that doesn't have interest of this state at heart to vandalize public utilities, vandalize shops, and even available information that we have some people who want to go to water board.
The Sultan of Sokoto and President General JNI Mohammed Saad Abubakar has once again appealed to protest conveners, their covert and overt benefactors, as well as other critical stakeholders to sheath their swords and urgently come to the table for the Sultan for a conversation. The Sultan says he genuinely fears an escalation to an uncontrollable scenario. He appealed to all in the name of Allah to end the protest. He urged all to understand that there must be a stable country called Nigeria, which all can proudly call citizens. The Sultan of Sokoto also urged Muslim leaders to calm nerves and call on the Ummah to appreciate peace during congregational prayers. The Association of Local Government of Nigeria has appealed to Nigerians for calm following the outcome of the nationwide protest, which now resulted into pockets of violence across the country. National President of the Association, Aminu Meifata, made the appeal while addressing journalists in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital. The association wants Nigerians to shelve the protest and give room for dialogue. He believes the president is committed to providing solutions to the yearnings of Nigerians as demonstrated through the granting of local government autonomy.
Let us work together towards a more prosperous and equitable Nigeria where local governments are truly empowered to serve their communities. And we know that only peace can drive and enable the realization of these laudable programs by the present administration, both at the federal, at the states, and at the local government councils. As such, let us not take us back to the dark days of violence, to the dark days of unemployment, to the dark days of destruction.
The Akwa Ibom State Ex-Agitator Forum has distanced itself from the planned nationwide protest, urging citizens of the state to abstain from participating. Chairman of the group, Paulinus Alban, and other leaders of the forum warned that the protest does not sit well for the country and the state. They emphasized that the forum's primary concern is the welfare and security of the people of Akwa Ibom. By dissociating themselves from this protest, the Ex-Agitator Forum has demonstrated their commitment to the state's well-being and encouraged others to prioritize peaceful coexistence.
We will go about our normal businesses and we implore each and every indigene of Akwa Ibom State to not allow itself to be cowed into any faceless protest.
We sons and daughters of Akwa Ibom State, we are coming out in mass to be an anti-protesters to the faceless protest. So at this point, Akwa Ibomites, I said no. Ex-agitators of the state, I said no.
During the NSAS, we had a lot of casualties that today
parents still in pains and they are not out of such shocks. For me, I will call on everybody who want to embark on this protest to give the government the opportunity for a discourse.
All right, let's cross over now to Abuja, where we have our correspondent Demola Lawrence standing by to bring us up to speed with developments out of there. Demola, talk to us what's happening now in Abuja. What's the situation?
Okay, earlier this morning I was at the National Stadium in Abuja, where of course the protest was actually supposed to happen, but we got a wind of that the protesters were actually at Bega under bridge here in Abuja. So we immediately we signaled into action and came here. When we came here, we saw that the police had dispersed the protesters because I remember that the court had already said where the protesters should gather should be at the National Stadium in Abuja. But they don't want anybody to gather any other place. If you can, my cameraman will just pan. You will see that the police are still sitting down to monitor situation report here, making sure that nobody is actually gathering here for any protests. They were actually dispersed just a few minutes ago here at Underbridge here in Bega at Abuja.
I wonder if you were able to speak with any of the protesters before they dispersed on why they chose to gather at Bega Underbridge as against their designated spots by the courts.
Yeah, we were not able to do that because immediately we came, the police just swing into action and make sure that they didn't allow them gather enough. Because from what we heard is that the protesters were going to gather from here and march down to the National Stadium, but they were not. They didn't allow them gather enough, so they were dispersed immediately.
All right. We'll definitely keep tabs with you for more developments out of Abuja. Thank you, Demola. All right, let's get back to the studio for our conversation. We still have our guests with us, and I'll need them to quickly respond to some of the things that we have said, talking about, for instance, Abuja now. The protesters went to gather at Bega Underbridge, which is not a spot designated by the court. And they're saying that maybe that was a convergence point from what our correspondent was saying to move. But the police was able to disperse them peacefully.
Yeah, it's an improvement from what happened yesterday. And that is kudos to the police for following that, gently dispersing them. And it's against the law to gather anywhere. Yes, I could understand that, getting people from different parts of Abuja, they need to maybe gather somewhere, then march to the converge somewhere, then march to the stadium. That could be the plan, But the law is law. So if you have to gather, if you have to converge, they go straight to where they have been designated. And I know it's for a reason. It's for security purposes and not to create disturbances to motorists, because when you gather there, you're going to distort the arrangement and the peace of other
free flow of traffic in that area. All right, let me come to you now, Shijibomi. Before we went on that break, we were talking about the role of governors at addressing, some of the issues put forward by these protesters, for instance. I recall that I had a guest yesterday who was saying that the federal government seems to be pampering the subnationals, so to speak. We're talking about food security and all of it. And he was blaming the state governor, saying that they practically own the lands. They have a responsibility to addressing this matter of food security, and they are not doing enough. But we are not looking at food security now, but part of it is the matter of food and how the state governments are addressing these issues being put forward.
I want to slightly correct you. We are looking at food because
it's part of it.
The end bad governance is end hunger.
Mm-hmm. End hunger is part of it. There are other demands.
Yes, they're saying they are hungry.
Yeah.
Or the whole country is hungry. Let's be like that. Generality of people are saying they are hungry. And but let's put it in perspective.
Yes.
Who owns the land? It's the state government. The federal government has tried to, intervene in so many ways.
Even fertilizers?
Fertilizers.
Grains.
And even for the very vulnerable.
Palliatives.
The palliatives.
Yeah.
Now, the state government have not complemented that. I don't want to act on WhatsApp or broadcast, but I won't mention the state. But there was a state yesterday that people saw the rice being given by the federal government to that state being kept in a store for elections, because it's not verified now. I won't mention the state, but it was all over social media, and people were saying that's our rice. They want to keep it and rebag it, so people were taking it. You could see federal government palliative written on it. So what the governors do, it just takes us back to the time of NSAS, whereby people discovered Indomie, like you said, the other time, and so many other things being distributed to the states. And the governors and the people in charge of the state kept them just to be able. There was even a report that somebody used it for a birthday. So Nigerians, we can be wicked to each other. Now, going back to it, now, what's the cost of food security? To be a businessman and entrepreneur in Nigeria is like going through hell. I just told you I did a trip to my state for business, for a project last week. And the car that I was in had to, the logistic car, the bus or truck, had to wait for me at a particular junction for me to get there, because I was 1 hour behind, because they left ahead of me, to speak to those people. Every state you get to, you have to pay 30,000 naira.
Why?
Every state. There's this thing they call basket. They call local government papers. So you get it from any state you reside or anywhere you want to. So they give you like 60 different receipts, and they give you a basket for that. You take it every year. Now, each state has found a way to put an extra paper that you won't get. So if you got your own in Lagos, by the time you get to Ogun, there will be something emission in Ogun that will not be in the one Lagos will give to you. And by the time they find another one with it, they will say each one is 15,000, that's 30,000. And the bulk of the 60 papers that you got in Lagos cost you maybe 25,000. The bulk of the 60. But mind you, if you don't get one, or one or two are missing, they will charge you something like minimum of 20,000. So and at a point I lost it, because a truck that does not have roof rack, a state said every car has to have a roof rack receipt for a truck that does not have a roof rack. So at a point I said, I will get to your ministry. I want to know the person that will collect the money from me. So we resolved. But when we got to even my state, the same thing happened. I had to speak dialect before we were able to pay 15,000 and get one receipt that is not that was meaningless. So when you see people complain that to move a basket of tomato from Jos to Lagos cost 1.2 million naira. So at the end of the day, where do they put it on? It's the masses.
Yes, the consumers.
So one woman, someone told me a story when we were discussing it, that one woman that sells fufu had it at maybe 50 or 100 naira already wrapped. So where she was going to get a transportation to where she was going to sell, they just increased from 100 naira to 300 naira. And she had already done like, and when it was like 45 minutes, she said, okay, let me enter. I'll put it on the fufu, no problem. So by the time the person buying the fufu, she gets the brunt of that. Now, the man Oyedele is trying to put the taxes together, and so that we pay one tax, and do it in such a way that you pay that local government tax once. So any state you get to, nobody has the right to stop you. That should be facilitated on time. People spend I'm talking about a 2.5 ton truck, or not a lorry. I spent 40,000 naira after having the due papers just to get from Osun State to Ekiti State. Imagine. So what about people that have trucks? So those are the things causing food security. They chased the car in Oyo State because they thought it was produce, it was carrying food items.
Oh, wow.
I'm telling you, these are the realities. So when people sit down and say, okay, and you know, I interviewed them. That's where I was going. Thank God I didn't forget. And you know what they told me? In the 2 states, different versions. See, that's the only way we can make IGR in our state. The governor said so. Because you make a lot, when they see Lagos number especially, you guys make a lot of IGR from Lagos.
So they are looking for ways.
Ways to make their own IGR. So that's the issue. Transportation, logistics. So it's not just about fuel. It's not just about that. So we have to, as a nation, sit down. What do we really want? What do the governors really want us to do? Try mechanized farming. Look at what is happening in Niger State. Look at what Ododo is doing in Kogi State. You may not like some of these governors' other approaches. But when it comes to agriculture, a nation that cannot feed itself is a shameful nation.
Choice of words.
Yes.
You have to be careful with that choice of words.
It's a fact. You have to be able to feed yourself.
Right.
What's the meaning of Thanksgiving in the U.S.? When they've harvested enough to be able to feed for the next 1 year. No governor has thought about silos for storage in his state. No governor. No governor has gone into mechanized farming and invited the youth. Let them say that we are not the one that is interested.
What Niger State did, what do you call that?
Yes, let me take that back. Most governors, not no governor, most governors, because I just did Niger State and Kogi State. Now, Ekiti is doing something in terms of cassava too, but we're looking at something holistic, something really, really impactful, and it's easy, Veronica. It's very, very easy. Give youth 1,000 naira of even 500 naira per hour to come and work on mechanized farms. If I know that if I work for 8 hours, I make 4,000 naira, and there's someone supervising me, seeing the work that is done, bring the private enterprise into it, public-private partnership, not just politicians. Let's see the massive turnout. University of Abeokuta is doing, Federal University of Abeokuta is doing something on tomato. And let's get back to the basics. When you were in school, did you have an agri farm? Did you?
Growing up.
As a secondary student from GSS1, I had a portion of farm.
I had.
Allocated to me.
Right.
How many schools are doing that? There is a university in my state, University of Abeokuta, of Babalola University. They don't buy anything from outside. They use everything from their farm to feed the students. So these are the issues. We are not serious, and the governors are the ones in charge of the land in the state. Let us feed ourselves. Forget about I just saw the Kano State governor. I don't have anything against him, so nobody should think I have anything against him. In this time of protest, I saw a 15 billion naira flyover. Are we serious? 15 billion naira flyover.
Well, perhaps he feels that's what is priority for the people of the state.
But the people are saying they are hungry. They've gone to NCC headquarters to loot it yesterday. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. Let it go simultaneously with agric mechanization, with massive investment in agriculture so that we can feed ourselves. If we have grains, it's not important to eat rice. If I have maize, when I was growing up, I would say it on national TV. The only times I ate rice was on Sundays. We used to call it Sunday medicine because I had gari to eat. I had other things to eat.
You had other varieties.
Yeah, and there was tomato and pepper behind at the backyard. So my mom could quickly do something like, we call it in Nekiti Pampata. And you used to eat gari eba. And we were feeding on that. You eat fruit because there was something
around.
But now, everybody wants to eat rice, indomie. And if rice, we didn't even know the cost of rice that time because when you bought the rice, it could last 6 months, it could last a year. But we all want shortcuts. So we have to go back to all these things and find a way to sort it out.
All right. It's a whole lot that has to be addressed, like you have rightly pointed out, talking about what the governors need to do. I'll come to you, Patrick, on the role of the governors, but let me quickly bring up this update that we have now. A coalition of youth have commended Governor Dweyediri on his administration's achievement recorded so far. The commendation was made during a solidarity rally to Government House in Yenagoa. This is as protesters discontinued midway. Senior reporter Joseph Kunde has details.
The day began like every other day for the Bayelsa State Governor, who is seen taking his usual morning exercise routine to allay any fears of the supposed protest in the state as early as 6:30 a.m.
The German is not a violent man, and I thank you all for heeding to the call of the government to keep the peace in Bayelsa State. The issues at stake is more about the economy. It's more about the economy. And the federal government is also responding, acknowledging that yes, the economy is not all right and something has to be done. And so why the need to announce violence?
However, at 9 a.m., a group of protesters started their walk from the popular Tumbia roundabout towards the Government House in Yenagoa, carrying different placards with various inscriptions in the presence of security agencies.
We can't bear it. So we want the government to change this. The policies of the government is no longer favorable. The atmosphere is not good for us. We cannot survive it. The world price and everything have changed.
The protesters, however, discontinued midway, and another group of youths began a solidarity walk towards the Government House, where they commended the works of the Bayelsa State government.
We want the world to see what is happening in Bayelsa State. So we will not enjoy anybody. Those misled youth, we want them to open their eyes and see more of the development, more of the human capital development backed upon by the prosperity government. So in this way, we are calling on our brothers and our sisters to shun violence if they want to protest.
As you are aware, Governor Diri is a symbol of peace. This government has shown clearly, as against the prediction of most naysayers, that we are here for development and development and development. And that is why the Sakmama Ikeremo Road that was initiated by the previous administration was completed.
Joseph Kunde, TVC News, Yenagoa.
In Rivers State, protesters defied calls to back down and occupied major roads in Port Harcourt to demand an end to economic hardship. Correspondent Uche Okoro has details.
A small crowd of protesters began the procession from the Port Harcourt Pleasure Park. Some minutes later, they made a stopover at the Federal Secretariat complex along the Port Harcourt-Aba Expressway. By this time, the crowd had increased in size. When they were ready to hit the road again, the number of protesters had almost doubled. Just like that, with every step, more persons joined the ranks. After about 4 hours and 11 kilometers, they arrived at the government house where they were addressed by the governor.
We are going to support you. I am not against your protest, but we will not support any violent process. We will not support anything that will destroy our state. We will not join force with the enemy of progress. I will support you. I will support you.
The protesters endured the rain to make their voices heard, and they sound determined to sustain the momentum for the remaining 9 days. Uche Okoro, TVC News, Port Harcourt.
All right, the governorship candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election in Bayelsa State, Udengs Eradiri, has emphasized the importance of constructive engagement between the youth and current administration, describing the protest, which commenced yesterday, as premature. He made the call at a town hall meeting by organized youth, students, and civil societies in Abuja. Mr. Eradiri acknowledged the difficulty in halting the momentum for protests, given the overwhelming number of supporters. However, he urged for the situation to be managed with care to protect national unity. The publicity secretary of the Young Women's Forum, Iriza Tekena, echoed similar sentiments. She also stressed the role of youth participation and governance as a means of empowerment and a path towards national development. She expressed belief in the current administration's effort to address the needs of ordinary Nigerians.
Just came in last year, and even though it's still an APC government, you have different ideologies. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we all campaigned for him, at least most of us in this room. We campaigned for him because he has been a leader who has empathy, who understands the everyday challenges of people, especially young people.
Please, I beg of you, we are critical stakeholders in this country, and everything the president is doing is for you and I.
All right, those are some updates from around the country. But quickly, Patrick, as we close home now with this conversation, what do you think governors need to do right now? Because recall that former President Muhammadu Buhari once said that what some of the projects these governors were embarking on were not really impacting on the people of the states. That was when we had the multidimensional poverty report of over 100 million persons being under multidimensional poverty at the time. So what do you think, moving forward now, the state governors need to be doing differently to addressing these issues? Quickly.
They need to do a lot differently. They need to remember that what the Constitution says is that the welfare and the well-being of the citizen, security, is in their care, and that is why they are put there. They were elected there to lead these people aright. So they must consider about the welfare of the people and what are the essential needs of the citizens. Provide them food, provide them shelter, provide that they should move around, and these are the basic things. Roads are non-existent. The state governments are not doing roads apart from few. Some that are only doing flyovers in the state capital, whereas the local roads that are important to move foods to these markets are in terrible condition. They need homes to live in. Many people are homeless in Nigeria as we speak, and the state governments are not doing anything. They are waiting on federal government with their housing scheme that was started by the previous government. That cannot solve the problems. They need food, like we talked earlier. Yes. The Land Use Act put the power of these lands in the power of the state governments. Yes. So they must encourage agriculture. By the way, they have the structures on ground. Right. We used to have agricultural extension offices all over in the country, but no longer exist and they're not working.
Unfortunately, our time is up, but we must thank you, gentlemen. Patrick Agbambu, security consultant, Shijibomi Adebiyi Bennett, social affairs commentator, for your time on the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But we also must let our viewers know that our coverage of the hashtag #EndBadGovernance protest still continues, and I will be handing over the baton now to my senior colleague, Yori Folari, to carry on with this conversation. Thank you.
Is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Do you struggle with having an active and healthy lifestyle due to your busy schedule? Do you find it's difficult to make it to the gym? You want to improve your overall health, but don't know where and how to start? Medical experts agree that walking, running, and jogging are amongst the best ways to stay fit and enjoy a great active and healthy lifestyle. What if there was a convenient and affordable way to improve your health, improve your mood, and lose weight right in your own home? Introducing the SportX Digital Compact Treadmill. The compact foldable treadmill that makes being active and losing weight fast and easy. Just unfold it and walk, jog or run while you watch your favorite programs on TV. And when you're done, just fold it and store it away. Now that's convenience. The secret is its advanced design that houses a 1-horsepower motor that is twice the size of most treadmills, packed into a nice compact unit, powering every step you take. You get the SportX Digital Compact Treadmill System complete with a rugged commercial-grade ultra-durable traction belt, large LCD multifunctional display that displays speed, time, distance, calories, and has 12 different exercise programs, as well as a magnetic safety key for added security.
The SportX treadmill has really helped me get back in shape after childbirth. I love it because it's compact and can fit anywhere in the house. And when I'm done, I fold and put it away. Easy peasy.
This is the best piece of equipment for people like me who want to stay active without leaving the home. I simply unfold it and use it while I watch my favorite program on TV.
Joining a gym can cost an absolute fortune, and you could be paying up to 490,000 naira in annual gym fees. Get the SportX Compact Digital Treadmill to save the cost and work out of the convenience of your home. You would normally pay 500,000 naira for a treadmill like this. Call the number on your screen now and get the SportX Compact Digital Treadmill for not 450,000 naira, but for just 400,000 naira only. And that's not all. You can get the SportX Compact Digital Treadmill in 2 easy payments of 200,000 naira. That's right, pay twice and get this amazing fitness solution. But wait, there's more. If you order now, you get the SportX Compact Digital Treadmill delivered to you for free wherever you are in Nigeria, and it comes with a ShopX 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied with the treadmill, send it back for a full refund. But hurry, limited stock available. Call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code or visit our website to place your order while stock lasts.
The preceding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
Experience information and entertainment like never before as TVC Breakfast takes your weekends to a whole new level. Introducing TVC Breakfast Weekend Edition, your ultimate source of thrilling sports updates, insightful political analysis, and captivating entertainment news. Stay in the know with what's trending, catch up with the latest in sports, and immerse yourself in the latest buzz from the world of music and movies. Your weekends are no longer just days off, but moments packed with knowledge, excitement, and enjoyment. TVC Breakfast Weekend Edition, only on TVC News.
Business lives on the fast track of numbers. Business is a strange world where low numbers means something different. And its currency are speed and time. Finding the open doors of Main Street is not just good business, it's the start of the business. Join us every weekend on Business Week.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this. Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything. If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all. Their demands, a familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Committee Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News. Our planet, our home, threatened by man's activities with fears of mass extinction on the rise. On Green Angle, we examine the issues that affect our environment, seek solutions to put us on track to secure and restore a cleaner and greener world for generations to come.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV Station of the Year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Good morning, Marina Station and all the passengers. Efficient, it's comfortable.
This development will go a long way in reducing congestion and emission.
The trains are a long-term solution to Lagos traffic challenges.
This is where we take the final, decisions on policies, programs of government. I will have to ensure that, the narration of Lagos as a PLC is taken very, very seriously.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Okay, good morning, and thank you very, very much for being with us. These are sort of very dynamic times. Yesterday was yesterday. The protest action started. I suppose one thing that marked it out was I don't know, the exemplary, shall I say, if that is the word to use, of exemplary conduct of the police. Where we could see the Nigeria police in a way that we hadn't really been seeing them. That is to say, they were engaging, and they were engaging with the public, with the protesters, providing protection for them and for other people, and so that probably did a lot towards quelling as much as possible the situation. That is not to say that it didn't go south in some areas, but even then, I guess it's a lot better than it might have been. Okay, so here we are today. There were a number of pictures that were coming out, especially from up north, that might have been a bit surprising. You begin to wonder, what exactly is the orientation of these people? What's going on here? There are things you just couldn't imagine. If it was a protest about hunger and the like, then we saw some images, a statue being attacked, we saw traffic lights being attacked, but all of that is the way it is. The police that seemed to be in a very conciliatory mood, by the time the Inspector General of Police was speaking, had said that, look, excuse me please, we will not let this happen again. But we're happy that some of the visuals that you've been seeing since this morning have shown something of a sort of a re-engagement with both fulfilling the what is it now? The fundamental, the constitutionally guaranteed rights of those who want to protest, and at the same time, this time protesters are actually at the Ganifa Park here and the Peace Park, making room for traffic, for there to be a free flow of traffic. Okay, that's the Inspector General of Police from yesterday. Is there? Let's take some sound. Let's take some sound from the Inspector General of Police.
Based on actionable intelligence at our disposal, indicating that some groups were mobilizing for violent protest, while some groups claiming to be mobilizing for peaceful protest were doing so with violent undertones, refusing to cooperate with the police on measures to be taken to guarantee peaceful protest. On the basis of this intelligence, the police advised that the protest to be shelved at this instant. Where the organizers insisted on going on with the protest, they were advised to stage the protest in confined locations. This will have enabled the police provide adequate protection for the protesters and isolate the criminals whose intention was to loot and destroy in the name of a protest. This we were doing in furtherance of our duty to protect lives and property and maintaining law and order. While we affirm the constitutional rights of citizens to assemble and express their views on issues of national importance, we were wary about the dangers posed by agitation instigated by some individuals who have shown tendencies to be disloyal to the government of the day. Despite our suspicions, we showed good faith through professional conduct by providing security at strategic locations, all aimed at ensuring peaceful conduct during the protest.
Okay, then. So, Inspector General of Police there from his broadcast yesterday. Well, our guest this morning is Honorable Lanre Onilu. He's the Director General of the National Orientation Agency. And so we're so happy to be able to speak to him in his office in Abuja. Good morning, Honorable Onilu.
Good morning, Mr. Fulani. Good morning, the viewers.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, as you know from our caption, the protest, which is what a lot of well-meaning people have been, cautioning about, and the police cautioned about, the hijacked protest, because what else could it be if it went the way it did in some areas, not all over the country. And so, of course, there's going to be a trade of national feeling now. So could I just first of all take your general overview on happenings yesterday? Nigerians were seen on the streets. Some of them you saw in a particular light, they were for the protest. Some Nigerians, some states didn't even want to take part in the protest and didn't do so. And yet there were some that perhaps went a bit beyond the pale in the way they were conducting themselves, and were recorded on camera. So what can you say about the orientation of Nigerians as we went through that protest yesterday?
Yeah, well, there were no surprises at all. You could see that for more than a month, all well-meaning Nigerians have said this was going to happen. There are no new lessons to learn. We have learned enough lessons by what has happened over the years. Most recently, we were here in 2020 during the EndSARS. So we knew this would happen, and that was why President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, government officials, religious leaders, traditional leaders, market women leaders, youth leaders, all well-meaning Nigerians rose to say in one voice, please let us avoid this situation, because we knew this was going to happen. And the reasons are obvious. One, we had experience, and experience is the best teacher, so we should have learned from that. Secondly, I can tell you, as somebody who sits at the helms of affairs of the National Orientation Agency, for nearly 3 decades, this country and parents have vacated their roles in the lives of our children. And the kind of citizen that we have today are the citizens that we have produced by ourselves. Because there have not been any orientation, deliberate orientation of Nigerians. We do not have a national identity. We do not have national value system. And we do not have institutions of nurturing citizens. So these are all there. And in the last 1 year, this is what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has focused on. See, you cannot build Nigeria if you do not build Nigerians. There are no two ways about it. So in the last, even since independence, all efforts have been geared towards building the country, without any recognition of the need to build the citizens.
Okay, I get you.
See, the Yoruba have a saying. They say that the mansion that you built will be destroyed by the child you did not build. So this is the time for us to now pay attention to the need to build our people and nurture us on values.
So I hear what you're saying, but there are times when Nigeria and when Nigerians come together, whatever their particular cut of the Nigerian persona. By that, of course, you know that I'm talking here about sports. We don't see this, for example. It doesn't matter. Everybody claims a part of being a Nigerian. And so is that sort of a natural, is it like based on our genes that everybody pulls together when it becomes Nigeria at any competitive international event? You see us, we go out of the country, we excel when we go to the world, but it's maybe this is where people have been speaking about a lack of orientation, and you've just put it smack on the doorsteps of the parents of people who are not giving, are kids being left to their own devices? But even if that is so, how is it that in some instances, nobody's going to destroy anything Nigerian? They will not allow an outsider to come into the trip that they are on about, I'm a Nigerian and this is my fellow Nigerian. What exactly do you think is the psychology going on there?
Yeah, see, when you have sports and you see that demonstration of patriotism, it shows that in every typical human being, the ability for good and for evil is present. It's up to the country to now harness the positives. You know, so that's where we have been failing over the last 3 decades. And that is the focus of this new administration. Sport is one of such institutions of nurturing people on patriotism. But in the last 30 years, how much investment have we made in sports, into that particular industry? So there must be deliberate effort to institutionalize the process of nurturing the citizens.
Okay.
And I'm not just talking about the parents. Equally, the government in the last 3 decades we have not done enough. In fact, we don't even have a concrete policy on national identity. And that's what this government has put in place. I'm happy to inform Nigerians that the president will soon unveil the National Identity Project, which is going to address all of these issues.
This is where what you've just spoken about, Honorable Larry Onilu, is where people, and this is where you can enlighten us a bit, when people, sometimes when things get to this pass, in much earlier conversations about our national life, people say, NOA, the National Orientation Agency, what are they doing? They are the people that are charged with, well, is it the role of the National Orientation Agency to be a surrogate parent, perhaps, of all Nigerians? Because it always comes up that if the National Orientation Agency was all that it could be, then people will be better informed, and some really ridiculous pictures that we saw from the protests, if those were really protests. Those weren't protests, but you know what I mean. People scaling poles and attacking traffic lights and attacking statues and trying to pull down. There are people whose orientation seems to be that if there's a protest, they think of it as going out there and causing damage. Of course, not all Nigerians are like that, and that was evident from place to place. How does the National Orientation, or what have been the limitations of the National Orientation Agency in achieving this?
Well, you see, before I became the Director General of this agency, I share the same opinion, just like every other Nigerian, that NOA is just one redundant agency that is not up to anything. So, but when I got here, I found out that the issues are beyond the agency itself. In the last 2.5 decades, the agency has completely been abandoned, by successive government. And so, thank God we have a new government. We have President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who even during campaign was hammering on the essence of unity, of patriotism, of togetherness. You recall that several times he spoke to the fact that we are all members of the same family, in the same building, all beds in different rooms. So we have shared identity, shared characteristics, and shared destiny. So now we have put policy in place. We have the National Identity Project that the President will unveil. And let me say clearly that I'm not saying there have not been past efforts, but the efforts were not that deliberate. And there was no deliberate investment in nurturing Nigerians on values. So we have today, the youth that we have produced is what we are seeing now. So they are also victims. So both parents and government, as I said, vacated their roles completely in the last 3 decades. So, but I can assure you that in another 1 year, we will have a definitive statement, a kind of journey towards building a nation where people will be conscious of what it means to be a Nigerian. Mr. Falani, today, if I accuse you and I say you are not a good Nigerian, what exactly am I talking about? Well, the man Nigerian has not been defined. The woman Nigerian has not been defined. The youth Nigerian has not been defined. And every country must be unique. The citizens must be unique. You must have your identities. You must have your value system. And you must create institutions to nurture citizens on those values. And that is the way to isolate those who are going to be defiant to the social order. So this we have not done in this country. But in the last 8 months, all these have been put in place. There is a complete turnaround in NOA, because the system that has been put in place under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is supportive of this particular journey. But I'm sure we'll get there.
And
thank you very much.
Yes, you see. We're talking about national healing. We're talking about the hijacked protest and national healing. There were some very, very unwholesome aspects, statements that were put out there. In fact, there were attitudes that are the very last kind of attitude that we want in Nigeria. Some Nigerians saying that we are not involved, we're not going to be part of it, and the reasons they were given, it harks to what some people have pointed out, that one should be very, very careful. We are all, as it were, a one. And some of the sentiments that were coming out have nothing to do with a protest. Everybody is hungry, if we want to go with that idiom. Everybody is hungry. But to now go beyond that and be talking in a separatist kind of a way, I guess there's much work to be done, as you have indicated, as we go towards healing, isn't there?
Absolutely. Yeah, see, the issue of hunger, we must also define the hunger. You see, there's that kind of hunger that comes as a result of lack of effort. There's that hunger that comes as a result of effort being made to right the wrong. We all know that this country was messed up over the last 3 decades. And I cannot, from independence, see any administration that within 1 year has done as much as this government has done. This is something that we can all open a debate and compare. We can have a comparative analysis of all the government. First year, some fundamental decisions have been made to ensure that we have a solid foundation, to have a country that we can all be proud of. I mean, if we begin to talk about the basic challenge Nigerians are facing, it's about purchasing power. It's about out-of-pocket expenses, that you have to go and look for huge money to pay rent, huge money to pay for your children's school fees, huge money to pay for medical expenses, for shelter, for all of this. These are the real cost burden. But within 1 year, you have student loan. Even in the best of the country across the world, student loan is one solid policy to address cost burden. So now you know that Nigerian students don't have to bother about where they're going to get money to pay their school fees. Yeah. The parents don't have to worry about that. So whatever resources they have, they can channel it towards some other things. You have the consumer credit scheme that makes sure that you don't have to go and look for 3 million, 5 million, 10 million to buy a car. When you need to have a car, you can have a car without having all that money. If you need to rent a house, you can do that through consumer credit scheme. You can have your appliances, you can have, basic things of life. And that's how you bring back the middle, the middle class. So because we don't have a middle class, and we don't have a middle class because people need to do a lot to be able to afford the basic things of life. But now you don't need to do that anymore. You need just to apply through the consumer credit scheme, and then you are able to live a good life.
Indeed.
As you speak,
such a lot is being done.
10 billion naira has been put together under the Ministry of Youth, targeting the youth population for them to apply and get resources to do businesses.
And
so
that
people
exactly,
they don't have to depend on looking for a job and all of this. And the biggest thing that has happened in this country in the last, let me say, 3 decades, since the collapse of the local government administration, is the local government autonomy. Now you have activated 774 governments in this country. You have activated it. So what happens now in the next 1 year is that you see a lot of activities going on, in the grassroots.
Indeed.
And so each local government cannot take control, do the basic things for their people. The issue of security is more of a local environment issue. Local government can take care of their own environment. And this is how we are going to bring down all these challenges. Agriculture, local government can do a lot. We know in the early 80s, in the late 70s, how local governments were providing tractors to farmers in their local government to do their farming. How pesticide, insecticide, fertilizers were provided by local government. You now have federal government going to build borehole. That's local government responsibility. Road of 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers. This can be done by local government.
You're so right.
Now create access for a lot of activities, economic activities to pick up.
Okay, Honorable.
And in the next 1-2 years, you're going to have, quality people going down to local government to contest for elections, so that they can do the right thing for their people.
So these are the things that have been done and are being done, and indeed, in some cases, they're well in place, that somehow didn't get effectively communicated, because the whole purpose of a protest is that we want to bring to your attention certain things that it might be thought the government doesn't know about, or is not, taking care of, or is not addressing. But the point has been made that much, you were just narrating some of those things, have already been done, and it continue to be done. And that is the sense in which it was being said at the time. I think the Federal Executive Council was saying that there really is no need for this protest, but for the right of every Nigerian to free assembly and freedom of speech, there really is no need, because all of these issues are known and are being addressed. But we sort of yielded to the fact that, fine, let it be. If we're going to have this protest, then we shall have to structure it such that you have your rights and we have the ability to do what we're here for, which is maintain the peace in the land. Now, Honorable Nilu, I'll just take a quick break now. Please bear with us. We'll be right back. We'll continue with this conversation about healing now that things have gone the way it has gone, and how we work towards the cohesiveness of our country. Stay with us, please.
Business lives on the fast track of numbers. Business is a strange world where low numbers means something different. And its currency are speed and time. Finding the open doors of Main Street is not just good business, it's the start of the business. Join us every weekend on Business Week.
TVC News Weekend Lineup. Join the hot talks and journalists hangout on Sunday with Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Feel the heart of the nation's legislative power on hallowed chambers with Tijesu Adeoye. Get a recap of market trends and industry insight on Business Week with Frank Omalape. Catch the highlights, victories and best moments on Sports Week with Samson Oloede. Get ready for the biggest stories, fresh perspectives and burning news discussions that round off the weekend. Only on TVC News.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything. If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all their demands. A familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Committee Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Committee Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Welcome back. Our guest is Honorable Lanre Issa Onilu, Director General of the National Orientation Agency. He's reaching us remotely from his office in Abuja. And we're looking at the continuation of the protests that started yesterday. But it's arguably a much calmer affair than yesterday. And the one thing that is sort of much in evidence, Honorable Onilu, is the attitude of the police. At the same time, the police, we started off with the Inspector General of Police, an excerpt from his press conference. But one has noticed that it looks like Nigeria is seeing a kind of police that it hadn't seen in quite a while. Whereas they put on their show of force, whereas they are called red alert, they are on a red alert, as the Inspector General had said. But still, you could still speak with the police. This is a much different police, perhaps, arguably. It depends on how you see it, where, you know, the whole principle of our fundamental rights, we will have our say. The police, that whole quote-unquote bloody civilian attitude was not much in evidence, where Senior police officers were engaging and reasoning with people. And even when they were breaking the law according to the court pronouncements, the police, surprisingly, defaulted to, okay, it is what it is. We still need to be protective of both the protesters and those that don't want to protest. That's a good sign, isn't it? That's a good sign that can be developed upon. Although the police said finally that this will not be allowed to happen again. I mean, they are what they are. It is their duty to enforce law and order. But they continue to engage and speak with these protesters.
Yeah, I'm not hearing you again, but I think I get a hang on your question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we must first understand that you cannot expect less under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If you take him back to where he is coming from, he's gone through all of this more than an average person in this country. He stood up in this country, he was arrested, he was locked up, he escaped through the borders, went on exile, fighting for democracy, fighting for the good of the people. So there's no way you would have him and then he will now ask people not to express themselves. Far from it. But under that, we must commend the Inspector General of Police and his men. And the same thing applies to other security agencies. They have done this country proud. They were so professional. In the face of provocation, they handled it very maturely. And if there is anything that confirms, it confirms that we are actually under a regime of renewed hope. Because it gives hope that people can be defiant, but they will still get the treatment they deserve under the law. So I commend the police, and going forward, we now know that Nigeria is coming of age in terms of the way to handle this kind of issue. So we must all now recognize the fact that we need to pull back at this stage. We need to allow this government to realize the courageous, policies that have been put in place for us to get the benefit of this as soon as possible. The last 2 days are not gains, they are losses to this country. A lot of businesses could not operate, people couldn't go to work. These are losses, these are not gains. And even prior to this time, since this notification was given, for 3 weeks, many dealers, many store owners are no longer taking goods from manufacturer, so that in case people are going to loot their store, so the stock will not be too much. So practically we are shutting down the country when we say we are fighting for the good of the country. So it's a major issue that we need to think about. And I want to talk to the lawyers, those who have stood up to say they are lawyers to the protesters. I'm sure they now see why people were cautioning, were asking us to be patient, to use other forms of protest. And because there are many ways you can protest, not only when you are on the street, when we all know what would come out of it, which we have seen clearly now. So I must now talk to those lawyers to please now reconsider that the reason for the protest, in the first place, when you look at the way the protest was named, it is named as bad governance. I've just mentioned just a few of what has happened in the last 1 year. And you want to classify those as bad governance?
Honorable Onilu, let me bring in, I hear you, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Let me bring in our reporter, Theophilus Elema, TVC News correspondent. He's in Ojota now, so let's join him there and get an update on how it is. Okay, a fine morning to you, Theophilus. Well, we can actually see some of it ourselves, but please, give us a situation report, because I can see your background. It looks calm and, well, orderly as much as possible, because I can see traffic.
Truly, yes, it looks calm and everything. Everything is going on well. But Yuri, earlier in the day, some other demonstrators came into the Ganifa Wemi Park and tried to stop the disc jockey from setting up. Because yesterday there was a disc jockey that set up and was playing music, playing some conscious music. And so today, while he was trying to set up and the protest was going on, some other demonstrators came and stopped him. And so it created some form of fracas here. And the other protesters were saying, alluding to the fact that they wanted the protesters to go into the Ganifa Wemi Park, and the protesters were not budging at all. So at the point, the police had to come in and calm the situation. That you still see that the protest is going on. The disc jockey is still playing. It's a carnival-like situation here because they've been dancing at some point, enjoying themselves. The protest is going on now. As you can see from the videos we are showing you, there's a procession going on, and so they are moving all the way forward. This is the same thing that happened yesterday. They moved forward, came backwards, and had a procession like that. When we came here this morning, policemen were all around the place. The policemen, the civil defense, the Lagos Neighborhood Safety, they're all over the place in Ganifa Wemi Park to ensure the peace. And so far, so good. It has been largely peaceful. Where I am is quite a vantage point, so you can see everything happening. It's quite peaceful as it is. There has been, apart from what happened earlier, there has been no form of harassment so far.
Well, that certainly is good news, and I can see that whole crowd there, it's in the service lane, so I guess people didn't know. It seems to be well managed, at least the way we're seeing it on here. It seems to be well managed. These people are able to, express themselves, and there doesn't seem to be a threat to security, which is what was required from the very beginning. That was the request from the very, very beginning. As to the messages, some of those messages, what are the messages that you are seeing them say? Are they what we've been hearing, that they want you reverse the price of fuel, we want 250,000 naira, those kind of things? Oh,
yes, those messages have been coming forward. They have put it in placards and billboards and everywhere. There are banners there, as you can see. Their message is loud and clear. They want a reversal of the price of fuel to the old price. They want some amenities, basic amenities, hospitals, facilities coming up on stream so that in quotes, the poor masses can benefit and reap the dividends of democracy. Basically, calling for good governance in this different sphere of the country. That's what they have been calling for. And we spoke earlier to the Commissioner for Information in Lagos State, and he told us that their messages have been heard loud and clear, and admonished them, congratulated them for having a peaceful protest, and also admonished that they end the protest in the interest of peace and in the interest of the nation. But as it is right now, it doesn't look like anything is going to stop anytime soon. They're still proceeding forward, and they're also trying to allow some vehicles pass through as well. But as it is right now, they're moving forward. Possibly they might come back, but it might even go further. But the Ganifa Wemi Park is one of the designated spots for them to have their protest. Already the Peace Park is empty. No protesters since yesterday. No protesters since yesterday have been at the Peace Park since yesterday. We've been there this morning. We've come on live this morning at the Peace Park. No protester is there. But at the Ganifa Wemi Park, all the protesters are here passing their message to the government and calling on the government to do the needful in everything.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Theophilus. Things seem calm there. We also have Demola Lawrence in Abuja. Let's see what the situation is like there. Good morning to you, Demola.
Yeah, good morning, Yuri. Of course, it's been an interesting one here at the National Stadium. Earlier, I was here like around 9:30. There was nobody here, so we moved down we got a hint that they were gathering at Bega. And of course, we got to Bega, but of course, they were dispersed and they moved back down to the National Stadium. If you can see, The protesters are actually here now. We're just waiting for them. The normal procession hymn that protesters do when they come to the protesting ground. That's what we're just waiting for. But while I was here, I already spoke to some of them, and they are still saying that they want, as a matter of fact, they said they want the president to speak to them concerning after what happened yesterday. They just feel that the president can just address them. They just want to hear his voice and tell him exactly things will be okay. And that's what they're saying here, and that the president should be able to look at some of his economic policies that he has put in place. Most especially the security situation in the country. And that is what the protesters are actually saying here at this particular ground.
Indeed. Well, as you know, as you say, they have the caption that they have, end bad governance. But people, our guest, for instance, is Honorable Lanre Issa Onilu, and he's been reeling off some of the things that have been done even before the protest. But again, it's a freedom of speech time, and so they are expressing themselves. As you say, the commissioner in Lagos was telling, I'm mixing up Lagos with Abuja. I was just speaking with your colleague Theophilus in Lagos, where the commissioner was telling them that, telling the crowd that the authorities are indeed hearing you very loud and clear. President Tinubu has always been saying this, that I hear you, I feel your pain, I know your pain. In fact, it was said that there was no need for this protest, but again, allowing for democracy and freedom of expression, freedom of speech, the right to associate. The protest has gone on with encouragement from the police to please be orderly so that we can be on top of the situation for the protection of both the protester and those who are not interested in protests. Well, I want to thank you, Demola. That's what we have from Abuja there. And of course, as you can imagine, TVC will stay on it right through the day. And when there's anything worthy of reporting, it'll be brought to you speedily. So, Honorable Lanre Issa Onilu, back to you in Lagos. This is the kind of, things seem to have calmed down a bit. Things seem to have calmed down. We're not talking about a carnival atmosphere. Okay. The authorities had always said that there was no need for this protest because you don't preach to the converted. The Tinubu administration had said that we know this, but then President Tinubu has said the buck stops here. We'll do whatever it is that has to be done just to make sure, and you were just pointing out that when it comes to democracy, you can't put President Tinubu very far behind at all. He's been through it all in his 3 decades, journey to State House. And so he will be the very last person that will stifle expression or stifle, freedom of association. I suppose you are encouraged how things are settling down. It's over back now to orientation of the people, where I think you have indicated, sir, that there's much work to be done so that we don't have the kind of pictures that we had coming out of certain parts of the country where it just didn't make much sense. It's like people didn't seem to know that destruction of your own property. People talk about public property. It's ours, and we are going to have to fix it. Maybe those are the kind of things. Now that you are in charge at the orientation agency, I hope that there are plans for a concerted campaign in this regard. You spoke about that earlier. Can be done. I don't know if I were to ask you, are you satisfied with the level of funding now, so that you're able to do the needful?
Yeah, well, you can never have enough, to do whatever you want to do. But the most important thing is the system support. With President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it is not by accident that you now have Minister of Information and National Orientation. It was a deliberate policy by the president because of the importance it attaches to the need for this orientation. Value orientation is something he has spoken about throughout campaign and since he became president. In the last 8 months since I've been here, we've consulted, I've been to 17 states, reaching out to all form of stakeholders, and we've brought together all forms of, committees that produced the blueprint on the national identity, project that the president will soon unveil. And the national identity project defines who we are as Nigerians. What are your expectations of the man who calls himself a Nigerian? We must know that. And now we have also identified 7 critical institutions of nurturing that this administration will create to ensure that every citizen is nurtured from birth to be a model citizen, to be somebody who is an embodiment of the attribute of a real Nigerian. And we have also done a lot of campaign materials that are ready to be for deployment, and we are getting listening ears from the president. And I'm sure very soon the situation will not be the same again. But you also know that there is a lot of competition for resources. But this orientation, everybody understands that it is the bedrock for whatever development that we want to pursue. As I said from the beginning, you cannot build Nigeria if you don't build Nigerians. So the effort to build Nigerians must actually precede whatever is effort we are making to build the country. Let me give you recent examples.
Very briefly, please, because we've almost run out of time.
I was on the third mainland bridge.
Yes.
I was on the third mainland bridge last week. I have never seen that bridge in that sparkling form. But immediately the bridge was ready, barely 2 weeks, somebody climbed the third mainland bridge and began to remove some of the furniture, the railings, to sell. That is somebody who has not been nurtured as with values. The second Niger bridge that just recently was commissioned, somebody went there to remove the metal to sell for how much? It's like you're destroying your own country. Nobody will do that if you are somebody who has values. All right,
then. We're going to have to leave it there. Honorable Issa Onilu, we're going to have to leave it there. But I want to thank you very much for making the time for us. The Director General of the National Orientation Agency just let us know that a policy is about to be unveiled by the President as to, how to be a Nigerian. That is my paraphrase of what it is all about. Thank you very much for making the time for us this morning. So we're going to have to leave it there. That's the program today. Do please join us on Monday, and do be safe. Have a great weekend. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.
Is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Tired of pans that scratch and stick? Or cookware that takes up valuable space in your kitchen and are of little to no use?
The Copper Collection is now available in Nigeria exclusively from ShopX TV. You could be paying over 490,000 for a collection of pans that are not even non-stick. Call the number on your screen now and get it for just 364,950 naira. This incredible ShopX offer includes one 8.5 inches fry pan, one 10.25 inches fry pan, one 1.4 liters saucepan, one 2.4 liters saucepan, one 4.7 liters stock pot, one stainless steel steamer, 4 tempered glass lids. But wait! If you order now, we will upgrade you to the Premier Kitchen Collection at no extra charge, and also include one cookie sheet, one round baking pan, one square baking pan, one loaf pan and muffin pan, and one all-in-one food processor that blends, grinds, chops, dices, pounds yam and makes smoothies in seconds. All for just 364,950 naira only. And that's not all. You can get the ShopX Premier Kitchen Collection in 2 easy payments of 182,475 naira. Place your order now and we will deliver the entire collection for free anywhere you are in Nigeria. But hurry, this exclusive ShopX TV offer is for a limited time only, so call now while stocks last. The following was a paid presentation from ShopX TV.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Hello and thanks for staying with TVC News. We are staying with our coverage of the nationwide protest as the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has directed that all command and units of the force should be placed on red alerts to quell further violent protests. The IGP spoke while addressing the media on the outcome of the day one of the protests in Abuja.
Actionable intelligence at our disposal, indicating that some groups were mobilizing for violent protest, while some groups claiming to be mobilizing for peaceful protest were doing so with violent undertones, refusing to cooperate with the police on measures to be taken to guarantee peaceful protest. On the basis of this intelligence, the police advised that the protest should be shelved at this instant. Where the organizers insisted on going on with the protest, they were advised to stage the protest in confined locations. This will have enabled the police provide adequate protection for the protesters and isolate the criminals whose intention was to loot and destroy in the name of a protest. This we were doing in furtherance of our duty to protect lives and property and maintaining law and order. While we affirm the constitutional rights of citizens to assemble and express their views on issues of national importance, we were wary about the dangers posed by agitation instigated by some individuals who have shown tendencies to be disloyal to the government of the day. Despite our suspicions, we showed good faith through professional conduct by providing security at strategic locations, all aimed at ensuring peaceful conduct during the protest, as the promoters pledged. Our men, deployed nationwide, went out with a clear brief to ensure that no one is unnecessarily harassed or intimidated. In places where there were court orders, we gave instructions for observance of same. Regrettably, events in some major cities today showed that what was being instigated was mass uprising and looting, not protest. Those who were in the forefront of promoting the idea of the protest were not around to lead it. Hoodlums have been let loose on innocent Nigerians and their hard-earned businesses and property looted and destroyed.
Live to the protest venue in Lagos, where the Commissioner of Police, Adegoke Fayoade, is addressing
stay away from
their
this
protesters.
lane so that you stay there.
Let's go and address.
Sarah, where's your mic? Which one?
Commissioner of Police Lagos Command, Adegoke Fayoade, is addressing the protesters. We'll still be bringing him on for more on what his assurances are to protesters as they gather for day two of the nationwide protest there in Ojota. That's at the Freedom Park. They're back now, so we'll link up with them again.
We are here peacefully to demonstrate. We are all one. We are brothers and sisters. We don't have any soul to be loose. Every soul is important to all of us. Thank you, officer. I know you on social media. I'll see you on ground. Face, I will be messaging. Sorry. We are here to protest on the road. This is where we can pass our message to the president.
All right, there, the entourage of the Commissioner of Police there addressing protesters. There we can find the Commissioner of Police Lagos State Command, Adegoke Fayoade. Also behind him is the Public Relations Officer of the Lagos Police Command, Benjamin Hundeyi. They are looking for a way to calm the situation, speak to the people, and of course, our correspondents are right on ground there, bringing us updates as it's going on there. We have Ivy Kano, our senior correspondent. Also, we have Sarah Ayeko standing by at the Freedom Park in Ojota for updates on day two of the nationwide protests. to this in a moment. But we're still in Lagos, where before now, the Lagos State Police Command called on residents to be more vigilant this period, as some may capitalize on the current situation to cause problems in the state. We have the Commissioner of Police live now from Ojota.
I thought to check because I told Gertrude to take you. She was telling me that I should write something that
the Commissioner taking questions from reporters there, from journalists, and he's speaking. We would hear him in just a moment as he addresses the protesters on what the police is doing.
You just take. Try your way to the front.
Are you still live?
What did she say?
The Lagos State Command of the Nigeria Police is calling on residents to be more vigilant this period, as some may capitalize on the current situation to cause problems in the state. Senior correspondent Ivy Kano has details in this report.
The Lagos State Commissioner of Police, CP Adegoke Fayode, says there will be no hiding place for criminals in Lagos. He stated this while parading some suspects at the command's headquarters.
At about 1 a.m., while responding to a distress call or harm men on Agoro Street, Mushi, a tactical team based in Surulere swiftly responded to the call, moved in and arrested one Sheriff Mustafa, age 42, one Suturat Latif, female, age 28.
One of the suspects was said to have escaped.
The suspects led the police to 1 Moshalashi Street, Mushi, where the following were recovered: 2 AK-47 rifles, 1 K2 assault rifle, 1 red roofer rifle, 3 pump action rifles, 2 locally made single barrel pistols, 5 magazines, 57 live cartridges, 70 5.56 live ammunition, 27 9mm ammunition, 1 expended 5.56 ammunition, 1 dagger, 3 walkie-talkies, 9 international passports. Investigation is going on. I've always said it, together we can overcome insecurity in Lagos.
The operation was carried out by the Command Tactical Team attached to Surulere. Ivy Kano, TVC News, Lagos.
The Lagos State government says it is putting on record the peaceful conduct of Lagosians as they came out to protest in some parts of the state. In a statement released to TVC News and signed by Benga Motosho, who is the Commissioner for Information, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said business in some parts of the state slowed down because of the fear that hooligans and architects of anarchy who might force their evil design and endanger the state harmony. According to the statement, Lagosians have chosen to embrace peace and shun the path of destruction while expressing their views and constitutional right to protest. He said the message of the protest has also been well noted and important to state that the federal government is taking steps to reverse the situation. The governor has promised the popular Sunday market will return with its 25% discount on all major food items. The medical outreach, which offered thousands of people treatment free of any charge whatsoever, will also return. All expectant women enjoy free delivery in Lagos hospitals. The 25% slash in fares on all transport facilities will also continue, and all the other measures put in place to relieve Lagosians of the burden of these times. Governor Sanwo-Olu also said, considering all the federal and state governments have done, all lovers of peace will agree that it is time the protesters called off their action. Their voice has been heard loud and clear, according to the governor. Now, the Jigawa State government has imposed a 24-hour curfew effective Thursday, 1st of August. Governor Umar Namadi announced the curfew in a statewide broadcast following the violent turn of the End Bad Governance protest, which resulted in looting of public and private properties. However, the curfew will be relaxed Friday from midday to 2:30 p.m. to allow Muslims observe Friday prayers. During this period, movement to mosques will be permitted, but the use of vehicles is strictly prohibited.
My fellow Jigawa citizens, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Today we woke up with a series of protests that is not part of our culture and that is not part of our tradition. And we feel that this protest will not be a solution to what people are demanding or asking for. We are all Muslims, and we believe that there is nobody in this world that can put hardship on you. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's only Allah that can rescue you from that hardship. Therefore, protest is not a solution, and it will not be a solution. We realize that how people use young, small boys to achieve their objective of vandalizing and stealing people's property. This is not part of our culture, and this is not part of our tradition. Therefore, we feel as a government we should not allow this thing to continue unabated. As a result of that, we are introducing a 24-hour curfew in Jigawa State, and this curfew will continue up to the time we have reviewed the situation again with the security agencies, and we feel it's time to relax it.
Now to Kebbi, where Governor of the state, Nasir Idris, has appealed to organizers of protests in the state to abort it. Governor Nasir Idris made the appeal late Thursday evening during a state broadcast on the state of the nation. According to the governor, available credible information has revealed devilish plans by some unpatriotic and unscrupulous elements to import some mercenaries from outside the state to cause mayhem in Kebbi State.
Responsible government will not allow people that doesn't have interest of this state at heart to vandalize public utilities, vandalize shops, and even available information that we have some people who want to go to water board.
We'll take a break now and return with more reports. Please stay with us.
Every week, Green Angle, in partnership with Wild Aid, will bring you a documentary series on environmental issues affecting Nigeria's amazing biodiversity, from climate change, air pollution, and wildlife conservation. We will be traveling across Nigeria to give you on-the-ground report of the issues affecting our environment. It airs every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV station of the year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Business lives on the fast track of numbers. Business is a strange world where low numbers means something different. In its currency are speed and time. Finding the open doors of Main Street is not just good business, it's the start of the business. Join us every weekend on Business Week.
Thank you for staying with us. The Sultan of Sokoto and President General JNI Mohammed Saad Abubakar has once again appealed to protest conveners, their covert and overt benefactors, as well as other critical stakeholders to sheath their swords and urgently come to the table. For the Sultan says he genuinely fears an escalation to an uncontrollable scenario. He therefore appealed to all in the name of Allah to end the protests. He urged all to understand that there must be a stable country called Nigeria, which all can proudly call citizens. The Sultan of Sokoto also urged Muslim leaders to calm nerves and called on the Ummah to appreciate peace during congregational prayers. The Association of Local Government of Nigeria has appealed to Nigerians for calm following the outcome of the nationwide protest, which now resulted into pockets of violence across the country. National President of the association, Aminu Meifata, made the appeal while addressing journalists in Lafia, the capital of Nasarawa State. The association wants Nigerians to shelve the protests and give room for dialogue. He believes that President Bola Tinubu is committed to providing solutions to the yearnings of Nigerians, as demonstrated through the granting of local government autonomy.
Let us work together towards a more prosperous and equitable Nigeria where local governments are truly empowered to serve their communities. And we know that only peace can drive and enable the realization of these laudable programs by the present administration, both at the federal, at the states, and at the local government councils. As such, let us not take us back to the dark days of violence, to the dark days of unemployment, to the dark days of destruction.
Senator representing Abia North, Orji Kalo, has condemned violent protests across parts of the country. He says what is going on at the moment is against all principle and guidelines that make protests a tool to responsibly deal with the very needs of the people. According to him, we did not want this protest to hold, not because it is wrong, not because it is not the constitutional and democratic right of the people to do so. We vehemently stood against it because we knew it would spiral into the carnage we are witnessing at the moment. He further says the ongoing protest defies everything appealing and against all the prescription of international laws guiding protest, end quote. Senator Kalu noted that the planners of the protest decided to close their eyes to the global economic behaviors ravaging countries and went for their anger to address a situation which this administration did not give birth to in the first place. He called for calm and assured the present administration is doing everything within its reach to address the myriads of challenges in the country. Now, the Akwa Ibom State Ex-Agitators Forum has distanced itself from the planned nationwide protests, urging citizens of the state to abstain from participating. Chairman of the group, Paulinus Alban, and other leaders of the forum warned that the protest does not bode well for the country and the state. They emphasized that the forum's primary concern is the welfare and security of the people of Akwa Ibom. By dissociating themselves from this protest, the Ex-Agitator Forum has demonstrated the commitment to the state's well-being and encouraged others to prioritize peaceful coexistence.
We will go about our normal businesses and we implore each and every indigene of Akwa Ibom State to not allow itself to be cowed into any faceless protest.
We sons and daughters of Akwa Ibom State, we are coming out in mass to be an anti-protesters to the faceless protest. So at this point, Akwa Ibomites, I said no. Ex-agitators of the state, I said no.
During the NSAS, we had a lot of casualties that today
parents still in pains and they are not out of such shocks. For me, I will call on everybody who want to embark on this protest to give the government the opportunity for a discourse.
Now, business activities are picking up in Owerri, the Imo State capital. Banks and shops are open for business, unlike what happened on Monday, where commercial activities were grounded. The Commissioner of Police in Imo State, Aboki Denjuma, who has been assessing security development, says the state is calm. Mr. Danjuma, in an exclusive interview with TVC News, said security operatives are on top of the security situation in Imo State.
This is Owerri, the capital city of Imo State. As you can see, seeing is believing. No protest is going on in Imo. We have enough deployment of security agents on basis of the police, the military, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps and other security agencies in Owerri and other local government areas within Imo. As I speaking to you, the town is calm. No protest going on. People are going about with their normal businesses.
State business activities have been skeletal in most parts of the state as shops remain shut. Abimbola Agbebi, who has been monitoring the situation, reports that though business activities are going on smoothly in major markets visited, some of the traders are unhappy over a drop in sales owing to the ongoing protests.
From Obada Obalende Market in Ikoyi area of Lagos to the popular Ijumota Market and Ketu Maltov Market, business activities have been going on smoothly, though the traders have lamented drop in sales. They say they also want a better living condition, but they want the agitations by the people to be put forward in a peaceful manner.
When we are at Obalende Market, we are selling our markets here. So peaceful, you can see everybody's buying and selling. Normally, the market is not so moving, but we are making something. We don't want any protests. If they do protest, they will spoil things. That's what we don't want. That's why we are continuing selling our markets. Our market is moving close around 8 o'clock. From 6:30, we have started selling markets. No problem, we are up peaceful.
This is Obada Market in Obalende, LCDA. You can see the space, the market is open, it was open yesterday, people are available here. There is peace within our community and nobody is protesting here.
It joins me live now from the Mile 12 International Market in Lagos. Abimbola, what is the situation where you are?
Yes, Abosade, it's the second day of the nationwide protest, and from what we have seen in the last 2 hours driving around Lagos metropolis, monitoring business activities, it is important to note that most shops and stores in the state have remained shut. Banks are not open. Just a few fuel stations can be seen working. Now, we are currently at the popular Mile 12 International Market in Ketu area of Lagos, and from what we can see around me here, business activities are in top gear. You can see traders going about their normal businesses. I mean, people have been trooping into this market, to do their normal business activity. And I must also add that I had a short interview with one of the traders who told me earlier that they are actually indifferent when it comes to this protest. Of course, while some are saying that they want a better living condition, some just chose to be indifferent. Let me see if I can have a chat with this trader. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Oga, why are you there here? Why you know the protest?
Yeah, I cannot be possible. I was trying to have eaten.
Okay.
Yes. I'm not doing anything for people for scrap work or tenga, no. I'm selling my business. If I sell things, I go to my house.
Okay, you just come market, sell your business.
Sell my business.
So how business this morning now?
Me and my business, no any problem.
Okay.
No fighting, no quarreling, no anything.
Don't they sell market this morning? How much have you made today?
Right, that's why it's plenty now. I'm selling this one 70,000. That is 20,000.
Okay.
How many basket one buy?
I just want to know whether business they move. I will see buy later. From what you have heard from him, of course, it's not so much about. It's not all about the protest. He's not really concerned about the protest. According to him, he's here to sell his business and, of course, earn his money. And I'm going to be talking to one of the market executives in a short while, whom I also had a chat with earlier. You'll be telling us about the situation at the market here. Of course, side by side with the ongoing protest. I have the market executive here, Mr. Gidado. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's the second day of the nationwide protest. What's going on in the market?
Normally, fantastic.
Okay.
Things are going smoothly.
Okay.
People are doing their business smoothly.
Okay.
So there's not any problem.
So how would you compare sales? This protest started yesterday and it's the second day.
We got an addition of customers that have buy items from yesterday because our market is a perishable items market. It's a market that we cannot keep the items on ground. When we keep it, it will perish 1 to 3 days. It will perish. So farmers, sellers, traders, and everybody actually selling them.
But really, what are your thoughts on the ongoing protest?
Well, whatever it is as a form of protest, our own is peace. We need peace. We need peace. We love peace. That is why you see people are doing their business legitimately without any fear or favor. So whatever it is, we support peace. Right?
All right, so you've heard it from him. He wants peace. And earlier we're at Obalende Market and the popular Lagos Idumota Market. Of course, Lagos is not what it used to be. From what we have seen today, activities are not so, are not what we see on a normal day. But of course, at the various major markets that we visited, and from what you can see, activities are in top gear. People have been trooping into the market, to do their business regardless of what's happening out there.
All right, Abimbola, thank you very much for that very in-depth updates there from the Mile 12 International Market in Lagos. We're still focusing on Lagos, and the Commissioner of Police, Adegoke Fayode, has spoken to journalists covering the protests at the Freedom Park in Ojota, Lagos. We'll now bring you what he's had to say, really, to these journalists about the situation on ground.
And that if they don't want to enter the park, it's allowed. If they don't want to enter the park, they can remain around the park. And the road we are standing on is a service lane. It's still around the park. So we are still operating within the limits of the order of the court. So we are not acting in contempt of the court. So we are still in order.
Yes, I can hear you. Early this morning when we got here, there were like a bit of argument between the protesters and police officers. And I hear that this argument was also there yesterday. They had this argument yesterday about where they should choose for the protest. Talk to us about what would be the mode of operation going forward, particularly.
This is where the park is a designated place for the protest. The Ganifa Army Park and the Peace Park. Now, if they are not willing to enter the park because of the fear of not being safe, okay, they can stay around the park. My assurance to them is that myself and my men are here to protect them. And just like we had a peaceful protest yesterday, none of them will be attacked or assaulted or threatened. If anybody does that, I'm going to deal with that person decisively. And I don't think anybody doing that.
Right, and the Commissioner of Police in Lagos, Adegoke Fayode, there. Our senior correspondent, Sarah Ayeko, is standing by for more from the Freedom Park in Ojota, Lagos. Sarah, we have heard the CP, talk about assurances to the protesters, the fact that the police is on ground to protect them, and that is what they are there to do. Tell us more about the situation there and how they are reacting to these assurances.
And his men to, of course, quell the agitations of some of the demonstrators, because earlier on we had seen that demonstrators were only confined to this side of, that's on the median now. They were not allowed to use the service lane. And so there were some kind of back and forth as to where they could use. So at some point, after an assistant commissioner of police had addressed them earlier, they had told them to go into the Gani Fawemi Park. And some of them moved into the Gani Fawemi Park. But then some others decided that they would not move, that they wanted to ensure that the protest is being seen by all commuters and all, and so they refused to move into the Gani Fawemi Park. But after several negotiations, conversations with some of the leaders of the demonstration and the commissioner of police, they decided that they henceforth, for the duration of this 10-day protest, protesters can now use the service lane at the Gani Fawemi Park. They don't have to be confined within the Gani Fawemi Park. They can use the service lane, and so it's victory for them. Some of them, of course, are happy with that feedback from the Commissioner of Police. And so the police, of course, has assured that through the course of this protest, they will ensure that their safety is guaranteed. They will ensure that they are protected from so-called hoodlums that have been roaming around this area. And so that's the assurance that the Commissioner of Police has given to these protesters. And for them, it's something that they're confident in, and they feel that the people have won the struggle.
All right. And then you spoke about the fact that they can now henceforth use the service lane. So what is the traffic situation on the highway itself? Is there vehicular movement? Are people out, or what exactly is going on?
So, just yesterday, not a lot of persons were confident about going about their daily business activities. And so right now you see that more people are out on the streets, not necessarily protesting, but going about their daily businesses. So apart from the service lane, which we are occupying, the other lane, which is the major lane on this Ikorodu Road Expressway, the traffic is moving gradually. There is no traffic, there is no go slow, or as we call it. The traffic is moving on smoothly, and that's what the police is trying to assure at the tail end of this particular intersection, where you have people that are going to Yanawara and all of that stuff. So at that end, that's where it's been barricaded at that end, so that commuters that are going to Ikorodu Road, commuters that are using the Ikorodu Road to access the island or access some other places, can use the major expressway and not use the service lane. So these protesters can, of course, continue their agitations and ensure that all that they're saying is being heard by the government. So for them, it's a win as far as the Commissioner of Police and the police is here to protect them. That's they're happy about.
And Sarah, I think I can also see some people who are selling even in the midst of that gathering there. You want to tell us, what it looks like for them, if you've been able to interact with them, and because for them it's like making brisk business even in the midst of this demonstration.
We've had a crop of people from different walks of life come here at the Gani Fawemi Park. Very interesting characters, but particularly all that they are talking about is the fact that there is hunger in the land. They are talking about the fact that they just want the government to listen to their demands. And they've rolled out some 9-12 point demand that they are expecting that the government would address them anytime soon, and then, of course, address these demands and see how Nigeria's economy can start to boom. We know that the government has come up with several policies that can assuage or pacify people's suffering or what we're going through right now. But when you go to the market, Bosse, it's felt by almost everyone. And so what they're saying is that they're expecting that the government will hear what you're saying. But trust me, it's been very interesting just watching people engage with security officials, not in a disturbing manner, very orderly engagements between the demonstrators and the security officials. Even at some time when they saw some hoodlums hovering around, we even heard that some hoodlums were carrying canes to beat some protesters. But people, there was just some sort of solidarity. People spoke against it. They were just really, really, pumped up and enthusiastic, and they just want to be heard, Bosse. And that's why they're on the streets. And this, is going to span 10 days. We're just 2 days down. This is the second day. So for now, the lips of the demands of these protesters will constantly, just be on our lips for the next 10 days.
All right, Sarah, and they're right behind you there. Thank you very much for that update from the Freedom Park in Ojota, Lagos. Let's take a moment. We'll be back at the top of the hour with more. Please stay with TVC News.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking it.
Hello and welcome to Marketing Edge on TV, Nigeria's leading initiative in the business of brand management and the management of brand business. It is a 30-minute awesome package that comprises brand news, brand focus and industry conversation, all in a mix encompassing thorough and in-depth analysis aimed at promoting the brand idea. I am Oluwabukola Omoniyi. Stay tuned.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the brand idea.
We begin with brand news, where we bring you the latest development around brands and on the field of marketing and advertising in Nigeria and around the world.
As Lori's Award gathers steam, creative experts in the Nigerian advertising ecosystem have emphasized the importance of authentic storytelling in achieving global appeal. The experts who shared these views at the just concluded Lori's Creative Connect in Lagos, organized by the Lori's Awards, were unanimous in their views that the Nigerian creative professionals have what it takes to establish their presence on the global creative map. The event brought together top professionals who stressed the need for storytelling rooted in Nigerian culture. Pritesh Suraj, president of the Lori's Awards, highlighted how creativity can be used to amplify Nigeria's diverse heritage and dignity. It is a golden era of the heads of advertising sectoral groups, HASG, as Lanre Adisa, the newly elected president of the Association of Advertising Agencies of Nigeria, AAAN, has been elected as its new chairman. Adisa took over from Dr. Adelusi, who formally handed over the position after the election. Members are optimistic that the association is heading to a future of expansion and success under Adisa's leadership. After a successful term as HASG chairman, Dr. Femi Adelusi, a former president of the Media Independent Practitioners Association of Nigeria, MIPAD, has left behind a legacy of noteworthy achievements and advancement for his successor to build on. Tion Engine, Nigeria's leading marketing technology company, marked a pivotal moment in its corporate trajectory and in the nation's tech industry with the grand unveiling of Tion Suites, its comprehensive suite of marketing technology solutions that empower brands, businesses and agencies at every stage of their marketing journey. Giving his welcome address during the unveiling in Lagos, Bolaji Okusaga, the managing director of the company, disclosed that the solutions were distinct tools which has been meticulously crafted to address the ever-evolving needs of modern marketing, communication and business development. On a part, Funke Ogunshina, the chief operating officer of Tion Engine, emphasized that while Tion Suites is not a one-size-fits-all solution, each solution within the suite has very strong potential to streamline marketing processes and unlock superior business outcomes for users. Somerset Nkobe, Associate Director of Analytics for West, East and Central Africa at Kanta, has revealed that 90% of marketers find measuring and proving return on investment ROI a significant challenge. This statement was made during the Advertisers Association of Nigeria Advanced Fundamentals of Marketing series, which was held virtually. Semiso explained the surveys conducted over the years have consistently shown this trend. She urged marketers to focus on both, emphasizing that while research provides tactical elements of strategic focus, it may not always be predictive. The marketing expert said by applying marketing analytics, marketers can combine tactical activities with day-to-day performance measurement, enhancing long-term strategic marketing investments.
That was brand news. Next is Brand in Focus after the break.
Hey sis, can I please borrow your wig? No, but I can share my data with you. Hey, come on, give me some ice cream now. No, Mom, but I can share some of my data with you.
Can you pass the toilet, please?
No, but I can share my data with you.
Oh yeah, can I use your phone charger?
No, Dad, but I can share my data with you.
Is it because Glow gives you data bonus? That is why you have been shouting. I can share my data with you.
With Glow Data Sharing, you can share your data effortlessly with friends and loved ones today. Dial *312#.
Power your relentless ambition with ultra-high-speed data.
Glow Unlimited.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the bright idea.
Now on Branding Focus. In today's digital world, there is a booming need for digital marketing experts. Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, is grappling with a significant skills gap that's growing even larger due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This shortage could impact global economies with potential losses up to $11.5 trillion in G20 countries. By 2030, Africa will need 230 million jobs filled with digital skills. For Nigeria, with a GDP expected to surpass $487 billion by 2024 and digital revenues reaching $16.43 billion by 2025. Addressing this gap is crucial. The rise in internet access, with 35 million more Nigerians online by 2026, highlights the urgent need for skilled digital marketers. Nigeria's young population, averaging 18 years old, is well suited to meet this demand. Many are already familiar with digital platforms, making them prime candidates for digital marketing roles. To drive economic growth and innovation, Nigeria must prioritize digital marketing training, preparing its youth to lead in a rapidly evolving digital economy.
Next is Industry Conversation, where we have discussions with industry thought leaders. Today we'll be having the concluding part of our conversation with Dr. Femi Adelusi, the founder and group CEO of Brand Eye Media. Join me after the break.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the bright idea.
Welcome back to Industry Conversation. My guest today is the founder and group CEO of Brand Eye Media, Dr. Femi Adelusi. Glad to have you join us on the program, sir. Okay, so let's talk about Brand Eye Media. Tell us about your agency and the other subsidiaries under it.
Okay, that's a very interesting conversation. So, Brand Eye Media is we are in the marketing communication space, obviously.
Okay.
We're 10 years old. We're
Wow.
actually 11 years old, 10 years plus, and going strong. We belong to a group that offers, so we got a specialist media agencies, Brand Eye Media, and then we got an experiential marketing arm that is called Brainbox Marketing. And then we have a digital first subsidiary that is called DigiBreed Limited. So what we're trying to do on this is we're offering services that we do believe that the advertisers require. And, you need to understand the consumer and the various aspects in which you can drive communication and engagement with consumer. So ultimately, what our business is trying to do is to help brands to grow in the terms of equity, in terms of brand love, and also driving conversion, using the relevant driving engagement. So the way we define it is, presence of mind, driving presence of mind and visibility and access through the work that we do in brand driving engagement and conversion in the work that we do in Brainbox, and making sure that brands are available where they should be, in the right SKU, in the right places, in the right prices as well, and also making sure that we can engage the consumer, right, in the digital space, okay, in terms of driving performance, measurable performance. Of course, everything we do is measurable. Of course, the KPIs are different. And then the digital allows you to reach to a very dynamic consumer base. When you think about the Nigerian consumer today and access to mobile and the rates and the pace of growth of that channel and the uniqueness of the channel and how communications and engagement and conversion is done, that requires a different skill and capability. Hence our the birth of that subsidiary and the resourcing of that subsidiary. And very happy to say that it's been the fastest growing part of our business. So we're really excited about that.
Awesome. So tell us what makes Brand Eye Media, what makes you stand out? What is your unique selling point? Like, what keeps you going? It's been 10 to 11 years that you've been in town. What keeps you going?
I think for me, it's knowing that you can actually create a local business that is strong and capable of competing with any of its peers anywhere in the world. Okay, it's also, for me, currently our business expansions, we're offering business services in Ghana, in Cameroon. We have ongoing campaigns in 5 African countries as we speak. And in the years ahead, we hope to do more. There's no reason why Nigerian brands and Nigerian labels and Nigerian franchises cannot be exported to the rest of the world. It's not everything, and it's not in all time that we must import everything, even in skills and capability, even in process. So for us, is about having structure and governance in place. Is about having technology and investing in the right tool that allow you to, keep your best talents, to also do, work of global standards, that, you can benchmark your work, and clients are proud to work with you, even international clients proud to work with you, even despite being, so we don't see ourselves as not just local. We see ourselves as an international brand, and we're proud of the growth that we're seeing in our business beyond the Nigerian market.
Great.
So that is enough to keep me awake at night, and for us to continue to strive to be better.
Great. Okay, so let's talk about Dr. Femi Adelusi. Who is Dr. Femi Adelusi?
Very humble, simple. I'm a tough believer in Nigeria and the Nigerian system. I do believe in the Nigerian ambition as a country. I do believe that being number one shouldn't only be in a population in Africa, or globally. It should also be in the quality of the work that we do. It should also be in the way that we influence the rest of the world. It's selling ourselves and the good of our nation, to the world. I do believe in one country. Of course, there are different areas where we can be better, where we can make sure that there is access for an average man, and every man on the street can enjoy, a prosperous country. There's no reason why we should be a poverty capital. There's no reason why we should have the numbers that we have in out of school, in unemployment, and in the state of our economy. We're very blessed, So Femi Adelusi is someone that believes in the Nigerian dream and do believe that we're not where we ought to be as a nation, and we need to work together to make sure that we get there. I also believe that, the old values, the values of old, right, are still important. I do believe in respect, in love for the other man, treating your neighbors as yourself. It remains very important. Okay, also believe, Femi Adelusi also believed in God, and that should be reflected not just in when you go to church or religious place, but also your everyday work, in the work that you do, right? In your service and in every day you do with your partners, it should also be a reflection of, are you treating them as you want yourself to be treated as well? Okay, so your product and services will be helping to solve solutions, to solve problems. And finally, I'll say that Femi Adelusi believes that best does not exist. I believe best does not exist. Everything can be improved upon. So we must, as an organization, have a philosophy of being a learning organization where we can, change and tweak everything, and every success you achieve today, you must just see it as just another stepping point, stepping stone to a bigger one. You look at the tech industry. In fact, when you look at automobile, you won't believe that it's the same cars that people killed for. Cars that people killed for, rather, 50 years ago. When you see it today, many of them you don't even. And I come from a state that believes in education, the fountain of knowledge, and I'm sure there's only one state that you can.
That would be a kitchen, right?
Absolutely. So in terms of background and upbringing and environment, we do believe in the value of education, and we still believe that it is not
30 years now. How will this impact your career?
To be honest, the way the career today is, I don't see too much. I think education is it needs to be so continuous that even when you get a degree, it becomes almost irrelevant immediately. And what I mean is that technology is, just like I said, best does not exist. Everything is changing and so quickly, right? Today you think you understand the algorithm that Instagram is using. Tomorrow is all changing. Today you think you understand. It's important that you get it anyhow, that you get it, whether through a formal school or personal learning, or what is more important, how that will influence me. I think for me, it's something that over time, right? Even from my first degree, I went immediately to do second, third degree, and all of that, because also there's a part around loving education because of my background. Like I said, my parents. There's also the part around making sure that you max the opportunities that you have and the time that you have. So every of my degree, except my first degree, was gotten while I was working. So every time there's a free time and free space, it's about what can you do in this time. It's also sometimes how I get my hands into other types of businesses. So beyond marketing communications, there are other areas of interest where, so it's just about how do you optimize the time that is in your hand, right? I think sometimes studying and reading is an easy way. There are also other ways, which could be learning a trade. It could also be, just learning a skill or learning something different from what you have. So, but it now depends to the opportunities that you have and which one, right? So if you cannot go to a formal school to get this, go and get a training by sitting down with someone to understand how to do an interview, how to ask the right questions, and the rest of it. Even, you know, so it's about getting this additional value and then to see that how does this add together to making you who you want to be or who you have been purposed to become. And what is that also in your future plan? So you have to think about it for yourself. So for me, who knows, maybe after retiring, a part-time lecturing program or course, service in a university, or could be a plan B, right? So if I do 2-3 hours in a week, providing some sharing and providing knowledge to some, why not? So it's just about preparing for the future and how you can also be of impact.
So this is not exactly a retirement plan, or it's just for the love of academics. Is that what you're saying?
So it's about the love of the profession. So there is also of course, I can do everything that I can continue to improve my skills and capability as a marketing communications professional, as a marketing without a PhD.
Okay.
You get what I mean? You don't need a degree such as that to be able to do what you're doing, to be able to improve yourself. There's so many other ways. But like I said, it's just now about interest, about how do you intend to use that in your future plans, which then might vary person by person, depending on what that future plan is. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so just before I let you go, it's been an absolute joy speaking with you. But before I let you go, what would you say is your favorite industry mantra?
Wow. Favorite industry mantra? That's a difficult one. Well, there's the one that people say a lot is about, that's become, there's the part around technology and, I'm struggling between, is it data is life, or data is, or is this about content and content being the king and being everything, right?
I think I've heard content is king.
Content is king is a very popular industry mantra, but data is also a very critical one. So for me, there's also the data is life, not in terms of airtime, but also in having data that allows you to make collective decision, informed decision that gives you the insights that can then enable you to, to make the right interpretation. Because we can both look at the same data and our interpretation of what needs to be done can be different. So it's about data is life with the context of not just data as in data, like they say, garbage in, garbage out. If it's not data for the sake of data, but being able to understand the meaning, which is sometimes not obvious, of data is what gives you that life. And that life is about unique opportunities and unique advantage that allows you to win in the marketplace and opens your eyes and your mind to what the others who are looking at the same data are not seeing.
Great. It's been an absolute joy speaking with you on the program. Thank you so much for joining us on the program, sir.
Absolutely my pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And so you have heard it. Best does not exist. Everything can be improved upon. And that's the much we can take on this week's episode of Marketing Edge on TV. Join us same time next week for another informative episode. I am Oluwabukola Omoni. Bye for now.
Is my fatherland. God bless Akwa.
We will invite
higher. The sun is rising, the land is peaceful. It's so amazing that I can see. I want to.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking it.
Hello and welcome to TVC News at 1. The Lagos Police Command has called on residents to be more vigilant this period, as some may capitalize on the current situation to cause problems in the state. Senior correspondent Ivy Kano has details in this report.
The Lagos State Commissioner of Police, CP Adegoke Fayode, says there will be no hiding place for criminals in Lagos. He stated this while parading some suspects at the command's headquarters.
At about 1 a.m., while responding to a distress call or harm men on Agoro Street, Mushi, a tactical team based in Surulere swiftly responded to the call, moved in and arrested one Sheriff Mustafa, age 42, one Suturat Latif, female, age 28.
One of the suspects was said to have escaped.
The suspects led the police to 1 Moshalashi Street, Mushi, where the following were recovered: 2 AK-47 rifles, 1 K2 assault rifle, 1 red roofer rifle, 3 pump action rifles, 2 locally made single barrel pistols, 5 magazines, 57 live cartridges, 70 5.56 live ammunition, 27 9mm ammunition, 1 expended 5.56 ammunition, 1 dagger, 3 walkie-talkies, 9 international passports. Investigation is going on. I've always said it, together we can overcome insecurity in Lagos.
The operation was carried out by the Command Tactical Team attached to Surulere. Ivy Kano, TVC News, Lagos.
Earlier today, the Commissioner of Police Lagos Command arrived at Ojota as the second day of the protest continued. He assured demonstrators of safety and promised to ensure peace in the area.
This is where the park is a designated place for the protest, the Garnifa Army Park and the Peace Park. Now, if they are not willing to enter the park because of the fear of not being safe, okay, they can stay around the park. My assurance to them is that myself and my men are here to protect them. And just like we had a peaceful protest yesterday, none of them will be attacked or assaulted or threatened. If anybody does that, I'm going to deal with that person decisively. And I don't think anybody doing that.
Our senior correspondent Ivy Kano will be joining us in a moment for more from that location in Ojota, Lagos, where the Commissioner of Police has addressed journalists. Still in Lagos, the state government says it is putting on record the peaceful conduct of Lagosians as they came out to protest in some parts of the state. In a statement released to TVC News and signed by Benga Motosho, the Commissioner for Information, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said business in some part of the state slowed down because of the fear that hooligans and architects of anarchy who might force their evil design and endanger the state's harmony. According to the statement, Lagosians have chosen to embrace peace and shun the path of destruction while expressing their views and constitutional right to protest. He said the message of the protest has also been well noted and important to state that the federal government is taking steps to reverse the situation. The governor has promised that popular Sunday market will return with its 25% discount on all major food items. The medical outreach, which offered thousands of people treatment free of any charge whatsoever, will also return. Also, all expectant women would enjoy free delivery in hospitals. The 25% slash in fares on all transport facilities in Lagos will continue, and all other measures put in place to relieve Lagosians of the burden of these times would also be implemented. Governor Sanwo-Olu also said, considering all the federal and state governments have done, all lovers of peace will agree it is time the protesters called off their action. Their voice has been heard loud and clear. And in Lagos State, business activities have been skeletal in most parts of the state as shops remain shut. Abimbola Agbebi, who has been monitoring the situation, reports that although business activities are going on smoothly in major markets visited, some of the traders are unhappy over drop in sales owing to the ongoing protests.
From Obalende Market in Ikoyi area of Lagos to the popular Ijumota Market and Ketu Mouth of Market, business activities have been going on smoothly, though the traders have lamented drop in sales. They say they also want a better living condition, but they want the agitations by the people to be put forward in a peaceful manner.
When we are at Obalende Market, we are selling our markets here. So peaceful, you can see everybody's buying and selling. Normally, the market is not so moving, but we are making something. We don't want any protests. If they do protest, they will spoil things. That's what we don't want. That's why we are continuing selling our markets. Our market is moving close around 8 o'clock. From 6:30, we have started selling markets. No problem, we are up peaceful.
This is Ogbada Market in Obalende, LCDA. You can see the space, the market is open. It was open yesterday. People are available here. There is peace within our community and nobody is protesting here.
And our chairman, Apapai Gomo Local Council Development Area in Lagos, Fumilayo Akonde Mohammed, will join us on the news for more on the situation of things, especially in her area in Lagos. In the meantime, a huge crowd of supporters have gathered at the APC campaign office at Central Area, Abuja, lauding the administration of President Bola Tinubu for many policies, including the signing of the new minimum wage, local government autonomy, security, and stability. Our reporter, Ulama Oyemachi, is standing by in Abuja for more on the development. Ulama, could you kindly bring us up to speed on this gathering at the APC campaign office in Abuja?
So this gathering started happening at around 9 a.m. We have been monitoring, we have been standing by here. But at 12 p.m., we saw a huge crowd of people gathered, to support President Bola Tinubu's administration, despite the anti-government that are scattered in other parts of Abuja. And they have walked out of the APC, they have walked out of the APC campaign council, and they are currently standing on the road. And this is a major area here in Abuja. It's just by the Bank of Industry and other strategic areas. So they are saying that they support President Bola Tinubu's administration. He has been able to do a lot within the past 1 year that he has been in office, such as local government autonomy, which a lot of people have been applauding, and also peace and stability. They say they have recorded more peace and stability within the time that President Bola Tinubu has been in office, and they have encouraged Nigerians to be patient as many policies are currently coming together in their favor. So that is what we are currently seeing, and we can say that up to over 500 supporters are currently here, and we have one of the organizers of the protest that is just by my side that will speak to us shortly. Please join us. Can you tell us the idea behind this support group for President Bola?
Basically, these are lovers of Mr. President, people that believe in what he has done. People that feel strongly that the president deserves commendation, the president deserves to be supported by the people of this country, because the president has done what no president has done since 1999. The president has given us government autonomy. The president has increased the minimum wage for over 100%. The president has created the livestock ministry to enhance agricultural produce in this country. The president has equally lifted import duties that has caused so much pain to Nigerians. The president has done so much. Recently, the president gave out loans for students over $1 billion in the last 1 or 2 weeks. This is a president that has appointed more young people in government, like me, than any president since 1999. What the man deserves is commendation, is praise, is prayer, so that he can do more for the people of this country. We believe strongly that the president at this material time needs support of all of us. And the appeal to Nigerians is that let's give him some time so that he can continue the good work that he has started.
Also, thank you. We have heard from one of the organizers of the protest, of the support group, actually not protest, they are for President Bola Tinubu's administration. That's what we're hearing now.
All right, Uloma, thank you very much for that update for us in Abuja. You're watching TVC News at 1. We take a moment and return with more stories. Please stay with us.
Everyone, open your ears, make we talk. Time don't read to rearrange this house to give una small wisdom. Una think say una sabi. Shout my tea fresh now, but una own, I beg no be so. Before una go talk, say our smell no reach. Make una think and try so. We know they here to the point una with our small finger. We show una solution instead. Ever heard of Colgate, the #1 oral care brand in the world? On a slide, we'll find like chemistry as it's supposed to be. You can see why we are the coolest around. For zero cavity and long-lasting fresh breath. Mom, it's your time to brush. Mama and Papa buy am, use am, and shine your smile. No more cover mouth. Because we Colgate, that will do yaga with your smile.
There has been an increasing trend of cholera cases across the country. Cholera is a highly infectious disease which spread through contaminated water, food, or direct contact with an infected person's feces. Symptoms include diarrhea, vomiting, and dehydration. Together, we can fight the spread of cholera by saying no to germs. Wash your hands regularly, disinfect your homes and drainages with hypo bleach. Stop open defecation and keep your toilet germ-free with Hypo Toilet Cleaner. Together, we can prevent the spread of cholera by disinfecting with Hypo.
TVC News Weekend Lineup. TVC Breakfast Saturday with Kemi Fola Adeyemo and Emmanuel Ajayi. Political Standpoint with Precious Amayo. Newsweek with Mark Otabo. Politics on Sunday with Femi Akonde. Community Forum with Sarah Yeku. Get ready for the biggest stories, fresh perspectives, and burning news discussions that round up the weekend. Only on TVC News.
The Inspector General of Police has met with senior officers to review the state of security.
We are continuing our coverage of the arrest of Godwin Emefiele.
The Senate has summoned the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to properly brief the Senate regarding the state of the economy.
You're watching TVC News at 1. Let's now cross live to our senior correspondent, Ivy Kana, who is standing by in Ojota, Lagos. Ivy, the police command is calling on residents to be particularly vigilant this period. Talk to us about why they're making this call at this time.
Okay, Ambassador, that's because yesterday, precisely Thursday, about 1 a.m., they got a distress call from Mushin, and police officers were asked to go, attend to the distress call. That was where lots of arms, were recovered, and also some suspects were arrested. The CP stressed that it was because of the vigilance of the residents who noticed that something was amiss and called the police. That was why they were able to immediately, attend to their plight at Mushin area. That's the reason why he said this period people should be particularly very careful and watch out for, any disturbance that may happen around their area.
All right, and I know there you are in Ojota. I can see some vehicles behind you. I can also see some individuals who are gathered. You want to tell us what the situation is there, and especially also reflecting on the speech, the address of the Commissioner of Police and the assurances he gave to protesters.
Okay, when the Commissioner of Police and his team arrived here, something spectacular happened. The protesters who were there, he was persuading them to get into the park. He was persuading them to get into the park and, so that they can have a particular place where all of them were. But the protesters insisted that they were going to walk down to Alausa, where they said they wanted to present a letter to the governor stating their demands. Now, the CP reached an agreement at that point with them. The agreement was that I won't allow you get to Alausa from Ojota. They said, okay, if you are conceding to that for you, then you also allow us not to get into the park. We don't want to be in the park. And the CP said, okay, that's all right by me if you remain where you are. So that's how they reached what I'll call a gentleman's agreement between the protesters and the police. And since that agreement was reached, they've not gone past where, if you look behind me, where the press gentlemen are, they've not gone past there. So the police, CP also gave them assurance that if anything goes wrong here, they should hold him liable. That was a huge, promise to make, but he's keeping to that. He's been here since because they raised an issue that they were scared they were going to be attacked. CP said no, that since he was here, the policemen are here, and the policemen are here particularly to protect them. That's the important thing. So that was what happened here. The Commissioner of Police is still here, trying to make sure that, it does not escalate. What we have now is just a bit of rowdiness that happened before Sarah spoke to you. But now, I think we are all good.
And also behind you, we can see vehicles moving, quite steadily, no obstructions, no disruptions to, free flow of traffic there, right?
Ambassador, I must tell you one thing. We went on patrol with the Commissioner of Police and activity has picked up. I think the only place we noticed that there's a bit of, it's not even restriction, it's just this particular lane at Ojota. Every other place in Lagos, shops have opened, restaurants have opened, and, activities have picked up.
All right, Ivwoma. Thank you very much, Ivy, for that update. Thanks a lot. Okay, let's now bring in the chairman of Papa Igomo Local Council Development Area, Fumilayo Akonde Mohammed, who joins us on the news at this time. Good to have you join us. It's day 2 of the protest. What is the situation in Papa Igomo? What feelers are you getting?
Yeah, to God be the glory, everything is calm. There's no problem. All the policemen are in charge. So they are on ground. All security agencies, all of them are on ground.
So you are sure, you're saying that, security operatives are on the ground. They are working with the people to ensure that whatever is happening is peaceful in that area.
No, the area is very calm. There's no problem. We thank God.
All right. Now, one of the demands of, some of the people convening this protest is about tackling the issue of hunger. As a person in government, what step do you think can be taken, and how are you, keen into such steps?
Well, it's not, it's something of, it's a nationwide something. It's not only Nigeria. Even in abroad, they are buying tuber of yam for 10 pounds, 20 pounds, something they are buying 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 5 pounds before. So our people should understand that this thing is not something that happened only in Nigeria, it's nationwide. So, and I promised them, and I have a stakeholder about 3-4 days ago with all the security men and the youths and CDA, all the stakeholders. And I promise them that they should calm down. Our president, they know this man very well that he's going to do wonderfully well. It's just a year at the office. They should try and give a good support so that everything will go well. And I promise them that there won't be any problem. There won't be any problem. And in Papa Gomo, we are doing wonderfully well. We are able to at least take care of our people. So we give them support, we provide for them every time. So I think by God's grace, everything will be okay. And I pray that our youth understand the situation of the country, that is not only in Nigeria.
All right. And at this time, what is your charge? What is your advice to people who are on the street demonstrating at this time?
My advice to them is that they should not try to destroy anything. Yes, protest, if it's a peaceful one, is allowed. But being destroying government things, destroy everything around, is a very bad one. They should try as much as possible to at least, when they, which area they give them to protest, they should do it peacefully, so that there won't be problem. And they should understand the trauma of the last one. The answer is still on ground. Like my local government, they burned everything, the whole building. They vandalized, they put it on fire, and after carrying all the property, the table, television, freezer, anything you can see in the local government, after that they have to put it ablaze. Same thing with the compound of the local government, where you have our truck, the one they carry, the Loma truck, all our car, the councillors' bus, everything. You know, that one will take a lot of time because we can recover from it. And this one, they should take it easy. Because all these things they want to destroy is their heritage. We should not try and do that again. They should let President, everybody understand their needs. And we are trying our best as a government. We are trying our best. Right. So I want to appeal to them that they should please stop being a violent protest.
All right then. Chairman, Apapa Igomo Local Council Development Area, Fumilayo Akonde Mohammed, thank you so much for talking to us on TVC News at 1.
Thank you. God bless you.
Let's cross over now to Taraba State, where youth in the state were addressed by Governor Agbo-Kefas, who assured them of measures being taken by government to address the economic challenges in the country. Senior reporter Owolabi Adenusi, who monitored the situation, filed in this report.
Business centers are closed across Jalingo, the capital of Taraba State, but markets and government buildings are being protected by security operatives. However, the presence of security operatives did not prevent the protesters as they marched from the popular roadblock to the government house Jalingo. Some of the protesters shared their views with TVC News.
Nigeria today, people are not happy. You can see there's no smile in the face of people in this country. The inflation has taken over all the resources that we are having.
Our government has hopefully failed to support all the needs of our needs.
The governor who received the protesters says his administration is working hard to bring lasting solutions to the economic hardship residents are passing through.
It is my responsibility, yes, sir, as your brother, yes, sir, as your governor, yes, sir, to make sure that the best come back to you.
One of the youth leaders tells TVC News why they refuse to take part in the protest.
We don't have a bad government. We have a good government. It's only we people, we are the bad one. We have to organize ourselves before having a good government.
Earlier, the Minister of State for Steel Development, Obama Igari, in a meeting with traditional rulers, youth and market women, says the federal government is taking remedial measures to ensure the hardship currently experienced by Nigerians is reduced.
The economic program of this government is driven from a well-structured manifesto, anchored by an expert, a professional, a proven professional that has put in more than 35 years, 40 years in service. You categorically, the president has directed the release of several tons of rice specifically, but side by side distributing food items like rice. He has also directed the release directly to state governments, whether they are PDP or APC or ABGA or every party, generally across board.
At the moment, the protest is peaceful in the state as no record of violence is reported.
Governor of Adamawa State, Amado Fintiri, on his part, commended the orderly manner of protests in the state. The governor, who monitored the exercises, said Adamawa is peaceful as the people went about their businesses. Senior reporter Wolabi Adenisi again filed in this report.
These protesters are not for bad governance. Rather, they are in support of President Bola Tinubu's administration. They are out in appreciation of the laudable policies and initiatives of President Bola Tinubu. The protest takes place amid watertight security as police and NSCDC personnel are stationed in strategic locations in the state capital. The pro-Tinubu group holds a long procession from police roundabout to Ribadu Square, where they hold a rally in support of the president. Various leaders of the youth, women and people living with disability groups say the challenges Nigeria is facing is as a result of years of misgovernance.
Though there's a lot of challenges, because in every government, definitely you must find challenges. And currently, as I speak, the president, in his wisdom, he is trying his all best to see that Nigerians become what it was before.
We would like to appreciate the president on the issue of local government autonomy. He did a good job there.
But we want people to know this subsidy they remove, they double or triple the allocation of state governments and local government for the masses to benefit.
Also speaking at the separate protest organized by the Take It Back movement, leader of the group Ibrahim Waziri says the reason for staging the protest is to call on the government to address insecurity, inflation, poverty and food shortages.
Then we need subsidy in electricity. It should be returned. The subsidy in education should be returned. The subsidy in agriculture and all the agri-debts the government removed from the banks, it should be returned.
Governor Fintiri, who monitored the protest, says there is no cause for alarm as Adamawa State is peaceful.
Though it was wrongly believed that this is sponsored by opposition, the government has failed to understand that there are also filth columnists among them that could have been behind this protest. Those that participated with them in the campaign, supported them in their election, committed their money, but we are not patronized neither in contracts nor appointment. We are with this government, we will support this government, and we will ensure this government succeed, because if it succeeds, it is our people that succeed.
The residents and protesters thanked Governor Fintiri for his administration's giant strides and making Adamawa State a model for others to follow.
At other matters, the Gombe State Police Commissioner has assured residents of adequate security following violent protests. The commissioner explained that all security agencies are fully mobilized and strategically positioned to curtail criminal actions. The security commander also commended residents for helping the police recover looted items. 7 police officers sustained serious injuries in Thursday's protests. We have details in this report.
Normalcy is gradually returning to Gombe town after peaceful protests turned violent. Several shops and businesses were burgled, including government property, but the police commissioner assures that the security agencies are on top of the situation and they would ensure that the peace is maintained. There was also the rumor of curfew being imposed, which the police commissioner dispelled, saying that people are allowed to go about their normal businesses.
We managed to contain them, in fact. So for now, you can see that everywhere is calm. I just came back from routine patrol to see the situation of things on ground. And all from my grand commanders and civil defense and all the sister security agencies, they confirmed to us that everything is now calm. You can see everybody is going about his local business. So the synergy really worked very well.
Almost 100 pieces of laptops, mobile phones, accessories, printers, so all these ICT gadgets. So I'm in the business, I'm selling all these properties. You can see even now, even the cup is not there, even the roof, they have wiped out, even the door, everything they have wiped out everything.
The police commissioner also explained that several policemen were injured in today's violent protest and that security personnel will be deployed across the state such that the security of lives and property can be maintained, and that the people of Gombe would have the confidence to go about their normal business. Landry Adeyemi, TVC News, Gombe.
Let's now turn attention to Edo State, where the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Monday Okpebholo, has promised the inclusion of youth in his administration if elected. Senator Okpebholo, who made this promise during a youth interactive summit in Benin City, said he should be taken by his word. We have details in this report.
About 4 months to the end of the present administration of Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State. The date of the next governor to be sworn in Edo State is November 12th, and it is sacrosanct. The APC and its candidate are confident that they will be victorious at the polls. Here, the candidate, Senator Okpebholo, in company of party faithful and supporters, arrived this hall filled with youths of the state to interact with them. The candidate is first to speak, and he shares his story with the youth as a way of inspiration and encouragement on how to be self-sustainable in the face of economic challenges.
My father used to have a farm. When my father would cultivate yams, I would plant my own yam for my harvest at that place, particular place. I would go to where the cassava is. Any yam planted around cassava doesn't do well. But because I am planting for God, those yams will be the best yam in the farm.
Some of the youths who spoke made their demands known while assuring the candidate of a landslide victory.
What is your plan to ensure that we are engaged with our business?
Responding, the candidate and other party leaders say the incoming administration will focus on empowering the youths through education, skills training, and entrepreneurship programs.
So if I am taking my own personal money to do things for the people, I will use government money for the people. So we will give out loan.
Man who has received the highest amount of money any governor has ever received in this state, that same man has borrowed the highest amount of money any governor has borrowed from this state. And then we ask ourselves, which area are we going to say this man has received? In the last 8 years, it is not been profitable to you, the youth. How many of you are employed? No one. How many of you are even encouraged in your big private businesses?
They further stated that the next administration of the APC in the state will invest in the future of the state by providing access to quality education and creating enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Ikenna Amechi, TVC News, Benin.
Away from that, the House of Representatives has directed the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to halt its crude for loan plan. The ad hoc committee probing alleged mismanagement in the oil sector believes the plan will deplete the nation's revenue, while another group of legislators are against calls for the sack of the heads of NNPCL and NMDPRA. National Assembly correspondent Jokia Disa reports, and will be back with business news.
Of the House on Petroleum Downstream and Midstream says it has gotten an alleged plot by the National Oil Company to borrow an additional $2 billion in crude oil-backed loans from international creditors to boost its financial inflow. It therefore calls on NNPCL not to undermine the ongoing forensic probe by the House of Representatives with a fresh loan. The committee describes the alleged plan as a threat to President Bola Tinubu's efforts to ensure local refineries have crude for their refining processes.
We wish to state that
about 50 members are against calls for the sack of the chief executive officers of NNPCL and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority.
It is in the parliamentary culture to afford parties in investigation the right for fair hearing. Therefore, the call for removal of anyone while investigation is pending is premature.
The lawmakers insist calls for their removal over alleged wrongdoing is premature, especially when investigations have not been concluded. They say the call for their sack is against parliamentary ethos.
We appeal for calm while imploring all Nigerians to bring the protest to an end.
A member of the House, Philip Agbese, had called on President Bola Tinubu to sack the two chief executives for allegedly stifling the
And it's time to turn our attention to business now. The Chief Executive Officer of the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, Dr. Muda Yusuf, says the outcomes of the day one of the protest are very troubling. He made this known in a statement made available to newsmen. He says the protests are already spinning out of control and managing it is becoming very challenging, adding that the economies of many of those states were completely grounded, leading to huge economic losses. Dr. Yusuf added that the risk to life and properties has become significantly elevated, explaining that major sectors driving the Nigerian economy were either completely or substantially short: financial services, maritime trade, commerce, transportation, entertainment, ICT, and hospitality, he says. The CPP strongly appeals to the organizers to announce the immediate suspension of the protest to avoid a complete breakdown of law and order, which could result in severe negative consequences. And as Nigeria continues to address its economic challenges, the federal government's recent policy interventions have become very important to manage the fallout of the economic reforms. Management and financial experts at lecturer at the University of Abuja, while reacting to the ongoing nationwide protest, highlighted ways to addressing the impact of the economic reforms on the economy. Dr. Adilodu Sadrak spoke on our flagship program, Business Nigeria.
We are having issues. Japan, Germany, UK, America, all of us are having different issues. But I keep telling people, you cannot compare developed countries with developing countries. Where they are today, we've not even gone there. So we must take conscious effort to make sure that all this policy, this current government puts in place, will work dogmatically about it so that we'll get to the end of it. And I believe in a short while, Nigeria will experience a renewed hope sincerely in this country. I want to encourage those people over there that they should take something to take a step and stop what is happening there, because before it leads to another thing entirely. So we don't need it. If we need anything, let us protest peacefully. It is our constitutional right. But after that, we are still going back to sit down on a round table and discuss this is what we need, this is what we need, this is what should be done.
And our Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edo, has revealed that the ministry is seeking innovative solutions towards addressing Nigeria's infrastructure financing gap. The minister disclosed this after a meeting with a delegation from the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority in Abuja, where it proposed the establishment of a Nigeria Infrastructure Finance and Guarantee Facility, NIFF, a dedicated provider of credit and guarantees for local infrastructure projects were discussed. The NSIA delegation, led by the Managing Director and CEO, Mr. Aminu Umaru Sadiq, included Mr. Kolawole Owoduni, the Executive Director and Chief Investment Officer, Mr. Victor Cesare, among others. The Director of Information and Public Relations, Mr. Mohammed Manga, in a statement said the proposed guarantee facility is aimed at bridging the infrastructure financing gap that provides a stable source of funding for critical projects. Elsewhere, the Nigerian government, under the supervision of the Federal Minister of Power, Elsewhere, and Power China, has signed a contract of over $118 billion for the construction and rehabilitation of 2,670 kilometers of 33 kilovolts, 11 kilovolts, and 400 volts distribution lines in Nigeria. Speaking during the signing, the Minister of Power, Mr. Adebayo Adelabu, said the project is aimed at complementing the ongoing midstream transmission project to secure power delivery. He said the power sector has received 10 power transformers and 10 mobilized substations from Siemens Energy. Meanwhile, the Managing Director of and Power Minister Kenny Anua said they are delighted to partner with Elsworthy and Part China on the transformative project, emphasizing that the partnership is a strategic decision given the successful collaboration. Outside Nigeria, Asian shares were headed for their worst day in over 2 years as U.S. Treasury yields slid, while the Swiss francs and yen rose on safety beats after weaker than expected U.S. factory data sparked fears of a worsening economic outlook. Japan's Nikkei experienced a near worst day in over 4 years, tracking a slide on Wall Street and weighed down by a surge in yen as well as uncertainty over how high domestic interest rate could rise. The mode in Asia, sparked by Thursday's data, which showed a measure of U.S. manufacturing activity dropped to an 8-month low in July and set to continue into Europe as Euro Stoxx 50 futures fell 0.8%. Positive futures were little changed, while U.S. stock futures extended their declines. Nasdaq futures tumbled 1.35% and S&P 500 futures fell 0.76%. MSCI's Broadex Index of Asia Pacific shares outside Japan slumped 2.54%, tracking a sharp sell-off on Wall Street and was headed for its worst day since June 2022. Also, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index tumbled 2.13%, while Chinese blue chips shed 0.6%. Indonesia's economic growth declined 5% in the second quarter, and authorities are monitoring geopolitical development that could affect the domestic economy. This figure represents a slight slowdown from Southeast Asia's economy of 5.11% annual expansion recorded in the first quarter. According to the finance minister, Miluya Indrawati, household consumption, investment and improving export had driven growth in the April-June quarter. However, she promised that there will be an increase in domestic economic activity till the end of 2024 and expected the economic growth rate to be within a range of 5% to 5.2%, as the execution of the 2024 budget will focus on maintaining price stability. A Sweden-based automaker, Volvo car sales surged 6% year-on-year in July to 57,447 cars, driven by an increase in fully electric vehicles in Europe. The automaker, which is majorly owned by China's Geely Holding, said in a statement that total sales in Europe, the biggest market for Volvo cars, were up 40%, while sales in the United States and China fell by 11% and 31%. The Deputy CEO and Chief Commercial Officer, Mr. Bijun Anwali, said the company is pleased to report another month of sales growth, which is driven largely by the sales in Europe despite generally a challenging market environment. Meanwhile, sales of fully electric and plug-in hybrid models were up 49% compared to the same period of 2023. And in the crude oil space, prices rose earlier today but were set for a fourth successive weekly decline as signs of disappointing global fuel demand growth outweighed fears of supply disruptions. U.S. West Texas Intermediate rose to sell at $76.84 per barrel, with an upward price margin of 0.69%, while Brent futures also experienced an upsurge of 0.59%, selling at $79.99 per barrel. And Bonnet Light fell to sell at $86 per barrel, with a downward price reveal of 0.72%. And for the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers are offering $80.65 per barrel, with an uptick of 1.34%. Well, and that's business. Next is sports. Please stay with us.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this. Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything. If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet, sour taste for all their demands. A familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Hello and welcome to sports. Let's begin with the Olympics now. Nigeria's women's basketball team, the Tigers, were defeated by the host nation France in their second Group B game of the Paris Olympic Games. The Tigers started off well, fighting back from a huge deficit to finish the first quarter 24-20 in France's favor. After the second quarter, the scoreline had gone up to 38-31 against Nigeria, and by the third quarter, the Tigers were trailing by 15 points as the score stood at 54-39. Despite moments of brilliance by the Nigerian girls, the French team held on to win the match 75-54 points. The Tigers will now take on Canada in their final Group B game. And Simone Biles has recaptured the Olympic all-round crown, seeing Brazil's and Zhang Qian'an stunned tennis world number one Iga Swiatek on Thursday to become the first Chinese player to reach the Olympic Games tennis singles. And seventh-ranked Zhang triumphed 6-2, 7-5 and will face either Croatia's Dona Zekic and Anna Karolina and Slovakia in the gold medals match. Zhang has exceeded the run of compatriot Lina, who finished fourth in the women's event at the Beijing Games in 2008. Well, number 3, Carlos Alcaraz edged closer to an Olympic Games showdown against Novak Djokovic on Thursday when he booked his place in the semifinals. Alcaraz, playing on the same court in Roland Garros, where he captured the French Open in June, saw off 13th-ranked Tommy Paul 6-3, 7-6. The Spanish star will now face Casper Ruud or Felix Auger Aliassime for a place in the gold medals match. And Andy Murray's retirement was made official on Thursday when he and partner Dan Evans suffered a straight sets defeat to Taylor Fritz and Tommy Paul in the quarterfinals of the men's doubles of the Olympics. Victory would have given Murray 2 chances of ending his legendary career with a 4th Olympic medal, but the American doubles specialists proved too strong in the one-sided match. Fritz and Paul marched into the semifinals at Garros with a 6-2, 6-4 victory. But after 2 wonderful decades, it is the end of the road for 3-time Grand Slam winner Andy Murray. This was Murray's 3rd match with Evans on his farewell tour in the French capital, with 2 dramatic victories taking them to within touching distance of a medal. And of course, China leads the medals table with a total of 26, including 12 gold, 7 silver, and 7 bronze. The United States are in 2nd position with 9 gold, 16 silver, and 14 bronze medals, while host France are number 3 on the log with 8 gold, 11 silver, and 9 bronze medals. Great Britain and Australia complete the top 5 countries on the table. And let's talk some transfer stories now. Manchester United have received a second bid from Fulham. And, of course, the bid is understood to be in the region of £20 million. It is anticipated. And back home here, the Lagos Lawn Tennis Club plans to build an academy for the development of the sport across Nigeria. President of the club, Temitope Abere, told TVC News after his re-election that a combination of education and tennis for young aspiring players will remain a priority for his administration. Our correspondent, Mian Akira, tells us more about it, and that will be sports this hour.
The Lagos Lawn Tennis Club has inaugurated its newly elected executive committee for the next term. Returning to serve is President Temitope Abere. The president says facility is key to the development of tennis in the country.
We have a land, about 4 or 5 acres of land at Epe Expressway that we are planning to develop to make into a proper academy. But in the interim, we have a property next door that we are taking over very soon, and we are going to be starting the junior schooling and the junior academy there, because we have a whole lot of little children around that are playing tennis, but we want to be able to educate them and make sure they can read and write as well.
A promised installation of more floodlights at the arena with a donation of a new generator and a kitchen for tennis lovers at the Lagos Lawn Tennis Club.
Court 1 to 4, I bought a state-of-art lights there from China, and we have ordered for another set of lights for court 5 to 9. Hygiene is very important. Whatever you eat and put in your mouth is very key. When I saw the deplorable condition of the kitchen, I said to myself, whenever I become the president of the club, one of the things that I'm going to do is to bring the kitchen down and put a state-of-the-art kitchen well equipped there.
Returning vice president maintained that tennis lovers have imbibed the culture of facility maintenance.
I'm sure you know that we don't play with this arena. We take very good care of it, because if you look around, this is a great place to be. And I can tell you, when you want to play here at night, it's great fun.
Built in 1895, the Lagos Lawn Tennis Arena has hosted several international competitions over the years. For the Lagos Lawn Tennis Club, it's time for the new executives to serve for another term. Mian Akiri, TVC News, Lagos.
That's TVC News at 1. We thank you very much for watching. For more on the stories we are monitoring, please visit our website, www.tvcnews.tv. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Our handle is at TVC News NG, and we're streaming live on YouTube at TVC News Nigeria. Next is Business Nigeria. Good afternoon.
It's a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Do you struggle with having an active and healthy lifestyle due to your busy schedule? Do you find it's difficult to make it to the gym? You want to improve your overall health, but don't know where and how to start? Medical experts agree that walking, running, and jogging are amongst the best ways to stay fit and enjoy a great active and healthy lifestyle. What if there was a convenient and affordable way to improve your health, improve your mood, and lose weight right in your own home? Introducing the SportX Digital Compact Treadmill, the compact foldable treadmill that makes being active and losing weight fast and easy. Just unfold it and walk, jog, or run while you watch your favorite programs on TV. And when you're done, just fold it and store it away. Now that's convenience. The secret is its advanced design that houses a 1-horsepower motor that is twice the size of most treadmills, packed into a nice compact unit, powering every step you take. You get the SportX digital compact treadmill system complete with a rugged commercial-grade ultra-durable traction belt, large LCD multifunctional display that displays speed, time, distance, calories, and has 12 different exercise programs, as well as a magnetic safety key for added security.
The SportX treadmill has really helped me get back in shape after childbirth. I love it because it's compact and can fit anywhere in the house. And when I'm done, I fold and put it away. Easy peasy.
This is the best piece of equipment for people like me who want to stay active without leaving the home. I simply unfold it and use it while I watch my favorite program on TV.
Joining a gym can cost an absolute fortune, and you could be paying up to 490,000 naira in annual gym fees. Get the SportX compact digital treadmill to save the cost and work out of the convenience of your home. You would normally pay 500,000 naira for a treadmill like this. Call the number on your screen now and get the SportX compact digital treadmill for not 450,000 naira, but for just 400,000 naira only. And that's not all. You can get the SportX compact digital treadmill in 2 easy payments of 200,000 naira. That's right, pay twice and get this amazing fitness solution. But wait, there's more. If you order now, you get the SportX compact digital treadmill delivered to you for free wherever you are in Nigeria, and it comes with a ShopX 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied with the treadmill, send it back for a full refund. But hurry, limited stock available. Call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code or visit our website to place your order while stock lasts.
The preceding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
Good morning, Marina Station and all the passengers. Efficient, it's comfortable.
This development will go a long way in reducing congestion and emission.
The trains are a long-term solution to Lagos traffic challenges.
This is where we take the final, decisions on policies, programs of government that will have to ensure that, the narration of Lagos as a PLC is taken very, very seriously.
This is a major pedestrian bridge linking Oyinbo here to Apapa Road over there.
With this overpass, we are providing what we call a permanent solution.
This place is one of the most dangerous areas at the biosecurity environment.
This can go into the news and every crumbs of your neighborhood.
Our goal is to remain as Africa's model megacity, to move our GDP from the 5-6 position to the 3rd position, and we believe it's achievable with all the commitments we have.
Explore the city of Lagos, where dreams are made and possibilities are endless. Amadedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking it.
Hello there, thank you for joining us. Well, it's day 2 of the nationwide protest, but these are the top stories we're tracking for you around the world of business. Federal government seeks partnership with NSIA to address Nigeria's infrastructure financing gap as federal government signs a $118 billion contract to improve electricity distribution. Stocks stumble on growth fears ahead of U.S. payrolls. Well, like I said earlier, it's day 2 of the protest. And some states of the Federation have witnessed violence, destructions of properties worth billions of naira, while some states have been very peaceful, like Akwa Ibom State, Imo State, business activities going on normally. Economists and market analysts are more concerned about the aftermath of this protest. Yes, For example, the looting in Kano State, a facility yet to be commissioned by the Nigerian Communications Commission. That's an industrial park in the city of Kano. That's not too good. Well, we'll stay on all of this on the show today and look at how this affects manufacturers and how some of them have either stopped production or reduced production of some because of some form of uncertainty and where they are business as usual in some localities. That's our focus today on the show. But some news before we get talking. Nigeria's Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wali Edun, has revealed innovative solutions towards addressing Nigeria's infrastructure financing gap. The minister disclosed this after a meeting with a delegation from the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority in Abuja, where it proposed the establishment of a Nigerian infrastructure finance and guarantee facility, a dedicated provider of credit and guarantees for local infrastructure projects, were discussed. The NSIA's delegation, led by its Managing Director and CEO, Mr. Aminu Umar Sadiq, included Mr. Kola Owoduni, the Executive Director and Chief Investment Officer, Mr. Victor Serere, amongst others. The Director of Information and Public Relations, Mr. Mohamed Manga, in a statement said the proposed guarantee facility is aimed at bridging the infrastructure financing gap by providing a stable source of funding for critical projects. Meanwhile, the Nigerian government, under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Power and Eswadian Power China, has signed a contract of over $118 billion for the construction and rehabilitation of 2,670 kilometers of 33 kilovolts, 11 kilovolts, and 400 volts distribution lines in Nigeria. Speaking during the signing, Minister of Power, Mr. Adebayo Adelabu, said the project is aimed at complementing the ongoing midstream transmission projects to secure the power delivery. He said the power sector has received 10 power transformers, 10 mobile substations from Siemens Energy. Meanwhile, the Managing Director of FGN Power, Mr. Kenny Anoue, said that they are delighted to partner with the Chinese firm on a transformative project, emphasizing that the partnership is a strategic decision given the successful collaboration. Now back to the protest. Now the Chief Executive Officer of the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprises, Dr. Muda Yusuf, says the outcome of the day one of the protest are very troubling. He made this known in a statement made available to newsmen. He says the protests are already spinning out of control and managing it is becoming very challenging, adding that economies of many states were completely grounded, leading to huge economic losses. Dr. Yusuf adds that the risks to life and properties are becoming significantly elevated, explaining that major sectors driving the national economy are either completely or substantially shut: financial services, maritime, trade, commerce, transportation, entertainment, ICT, and hospitality. The CPP boss strongly appeals to the organizers to announce the immediate suspension of the protest to avoid a complete breakdown of law and order, which could result in severe negative consequences. And the Lagos State government says it is putting on record the peaceful conduct of Lagosians as they came out to protest in some parts of the state. In a statement released to TVC News and signed by Mr. Bengal Motoso, the Commissioner for Information, Governor Sanwo-Olu said business in some parts of the state slowed down because of the fear that hooligans and architects of anarchy who might force their evil design and endanger over harmony. According to that statement, Lagosians have chosen to embrace peace and shun the path of destruction while expressing their views and constitutional rights to protest. He said the message of the protest has also been well noted and important to state that the federal government is taking steps to reverse the situation. The governor has promised the popular Sunday market will return to its 25% discount and all of the food items, major food items. The medical outreach, which offers thousands of people treatment free of charge, whosoever will also return. All expectant women enjoy free delivery in Lagos hospitals, as according to the governor. The 25% slash in fares on all transport facilities will also continue, and all the other measures put in place to relieve Lagosians of the burden of these times, Governor Sanwo-Olu said, will be addressed. Considering that all states and federal government have all levels of peace, they will agree that it's a time for the protesters to now call off their actions as their voices have been heard loud and clear. Let's get talking now. It's day 2 of the protest. Nigerians hit the streets, calling on the federal government to address some burning economic challenges. Well, this is coming after several calls by President Bola Tinubu telling them to suspend the protest, renewing his commitment to addressing the economic challenges facing the country. What are the implications of this specifically for Nigeria's economy? I'm being joined live in the studio by the Director General, Nigerian Employers Consultative Forum Association, I beg your pardon. That's Mr. Adewale Oyerinde. Thank you so much, DG. It's good to have you here, despite, I think, how was it like coming in from here, the airline? You came in from Abuja. Yeah. So let's talk about the airlines. Has this affected the airlines' activities in any way?
Absolutely. You know, a couple of the airlines did not fly. A couple of them had to cancel their flights. And in your opening remarks, when you said some states peaceful, probably didn't affect the economy of those areas. But the reality is this. There are business owners, there are transactions that probably should have gone on in those states yesterday. But the protest in that free movement of those business people, of those transactions. So whether we like it or not, maybe silent, but the consequences is quite far-reaching everywhere.
Okay. So moving on now, let's now look at these challenges. We need to look at these challenges squarely before we look at the demands. It's a fallout of subsidy removal and, of course, liberalization of the exchange rate, which many economists said that was really the way to go. Even the IMF and World Bank has said, Nigeria, this must be done before you can, get your economy working again. What do you think about the management, really, of the fallout?
Well, I think we shouldn't bring the IMF or the World Bank into this.
Well, it's commended President Tinubu when all of this started.
Well, I think that let's look at what is good for us first.
Okay, good.
Let's look at what is good for us as a country. If we are circumspect enough to look at where we're coming from, I said for over 14 years, the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association have continuously canvassed for the removal of fuel subsidy. That it's basically a drain in the country's purse. Now, the first subsidy was removed, or when this administration came, we knew we had to embark on certain very difficult reforms, where we need to remove the first subsidy, we need to get our refineries working, we need to get the productive sector back on his feet. So many things that we needed to do. There is Nigerian Air that was moribund after the contraption with Ethiopian Air. So many things that needed to be put back in the path of growth. And the reforms came, and what we also advised then was that government should do, while those reforms are very necessary, very, very necessary, there's also need for us to make those reforms, give them some level of human face. So as we are doing those reforms, we are also providing some level of support to the citizens so that they can accommodate the pains that will come with the reforms. So that's where we are. The reforms are ongoing. Government is doing quite a lot to mitigate the challenges. Organized private sector is making representation to government on all fronts. Government is trying its best to meet those challenges. There are pains in the land. Absolutely, there is. Things are tough, and the expectation basically, and that's where the gap is, I have noticed. Okay. While government is doing quite a lot in so many areas, I think the communication of those interventions has been less of commendable. You can be doing a lot to mitigate the challenges for the citizens, but if you are not communicating it, then people are not feeling it. They probably will not get it. Now, the second part of it is beyond the federal government. What are the subnationals doing? It has to be a concerted effort to relieve the pains of the citizens. So if the federal government is doing this much, and kudos to the Lagos State government for the things that the government rolled out, the free medical for pregnant women, the 25, the Sunday market. Look, if all state governors are doing the same, the drops here, the drops there, the drop here, the drop there, they all put together will be massive within the context of the reduction of the crisis that we currently have. But yesterday was quite unfortunate. While we all have the constitutional right to go on protest as guaranteed, to peaceful protest as guaranteed, our fears came to bear yesterday with what happened in Kano, what happened in some other states where looting actually took place. And from our experience with NSAS, you know, after the whole looting, those that looted will probably go back and enjoy their loot. Then the police will also spend state resources, state scarce resources, to start pursuing those people that have looted. The business owners that faces the brunt, that become victim of the looting, what happened to them? Life seems to go on for every other person. But for those business owners that lost their investment, that lost their credit-driven investment, you know, you probably have collected loans to purchase the stocks.
DG, I need to interject you. We need to go on a commercial break, and we'll be right back and continue our discussion, please. We'll take this break. Business Nigeria will be back.
Abiodun Joseph. I'm a 5 million naira winner in the UBA Super Amiba. I drive commercial bus in Lagos.